Chapter 14. Tate. After my surprisingly successful meeting with Violet, I head back to the office. Now that she's agreed to go along with this plan, I need to talk to Mark. Initially, she wanted to be the one to inform her brother about the arrangement, but I convinced her to let me speak to him. Considering how she feels about me, I'm not confident she'd have done a good job of selling him on the idea. Though Mark isn't likely to take it very well coming from me either, even if the relationship will be completely fake. I wasn't kidding when I told her he'd warned me away from her before we'd even met. Not that I would have considered messing around with a friend's sister, especially when I had a whole college of women to have fun with back then. But Mark wasn't taking any chances, and I respect that. I'm not prone to procrastination, especially when it comes to unpleasant situations, so when I make it back to the King Group, I head straight up to the legal floor and make my way to Mark's office. He's on the phone when I get there, but when I step inside, he wraps up the conversation. After hanging up, he leans back in his chair with a grin. 2 visits in 2 weeks. What did I do to get so lucky? He won't feel quite so lucky in a moment. I pull up a chair opposite his desk. I need you to write up a contract for me. With a nod, he sits up again, picks up a pen and makes a note on a pad. Okay, what's this contract for? A relationship. He looks up from his pad with his eyebrows raised. A relationship? Like an NDA? Since when did you start dating? I didn't. This is for PR purposes only. Is this in response to that photo of you with Serena Worthington? Your brother met with general counsel about it this morning. That and all the other crap that gets printed about me. His grin is a little too broad. I have to say, I never thought you'd go the fake girlfriend route. I snored. Neither did I. I guess Roman's more convincing than I gave him credit for. Well, he drawls, obviously enjoying this. I can't wait to see how you do with that. He looks back down at his pad. Okay, what are you thinking for terms? I run through what I've already discussed with Violet, and he jots the details down on his notepad, making suggestions of his own here and there. A crease forms between his brows when I tell him the payment amount, but he doesn't comment. Okay, he finally says. I'll get this drafted and back to you for review. Once you're happy with it and you've found the woman, we can finalize it. I clear my throat and sit a little straighter. I already know who it's going to be. Surprise flashes across his face, and he picks up his pen again. You were quick. So, who's the lucky lady? Violet. He scratches the name onto his pad. Last name? I almost laugh. He didn't even blink. He's that sure I wouldn't be talking about his sister. Sinclair. His head snaps up. What? Your sister. He drops his pen on his desk. No. I lean forward, keeping my eyes fixed on his. Why not? This is strictly business, and you already know it'll benefit her significantly. Because she's my sister, Tate, and you're... you. I school my expression so he can't see the way his words hit. And she's a grown woman making a smart business decision. I have no intention of screwing her over, regardless of what you apparently think of me. Mark winces. That's not what I meant. I know you won't deliberately hurt her, but you know how charming you are. Women can't resist you, and you can't even turn it off. It's just who you are. What if she falls for you? It's been like a year since she dated anyone, and I get the feeling her last relationship didn't end that well. He frowns for a moment, then shakes his head and continues. Getting swept up in the excitement and glamour of dating Tate King might be too much for her. I can't help but smirk. I think you underestimate your sister and just how not charming she finds me. Mark's frown doesn't let up. What about all the publicity? She's not used to that kind of scrutiny. She could be put in uncomfortable situations. I don't particularly like that possibility either. I understand your concerns, and I'll do everything possible to make sure the media don't go overboard. We'll keep the relationship low-key. My hope is that it looks as though this is an ongoing secret romance that has just come to light, a relationship I want to protect from the press. Will you be able to play that? How long has it been since you've been with a woman? You have to know that if someone else comes forward and says she was with you after this relationship supposedly began, it would hurt Violet. I resist the urge to say that the last woman I was physical with was Violet. He definitely doesn't need to know that little fact, and I understand his worries, even if they grate on me. I haven't been with another woman in months. Whether anyone else is willing to acknowledge it or not, I've been working to adjust my image for a while now. I smoothed down my tie. I'll do everything in my power to make sure Violet doesn't get hurt, and I'll compensate her well for her time and effort. I've spoken to her, and she's on board with all of this. And with all due respect, Mark, I lean forward and pin him with the full weight of my stare. I'm going through this with you out of courtesy and because you're my friend, but the final decision is up to your sister. The reason I want you to write the contract is because I know you'll have her best interests at heart, and will make sure it's fair to her. But if you don't want to handle it, I'll have one of our other lawyers do it. He narrows his eyes, and for a long, drawn-out moment, tension hangs heavy in the air between us. I'm probably an idiot for forcing the issue with one of my very few real friends, but out of the many people I associate with, I trust hardly any of them with more than the surface of me. Mark's one of those I do. Finally, he looks away and picks up his pen again. When he meets my gaze, his eyes shine with concern. You're right. I should have more faith in you. And Violet's a grown woman. She can make this decision herself, but I worry about her. She went quiet on me after Dad, and it's only since she's been back in New York running the coffee shop that she's seemed more like herself. I don't want anything to jeopardize that. He sighs. Just take care of her, okay? That's all I'm asking for. I nod. He's not exactly enthusiastic, but at least he's on board. One last thing, Mark says. What's the exit strategy? Exit strategy. And then it hits me. How will we get out of this relationship when the time comes? It will have to be in a way that doesn't invite more scandal and won't make either of us look like the villain. Particularly Violet. I tip my head back and mentally run through scenarios. We can say that we've known each other for years, and that after reconnecting and spending time together, we've decided that we're better off as just friends. We can be seen together amicably a few times after the split is official to make it clear there's no blame on either side. Then that will be it. Done. Violet goes her own way and I go mine. That sounds believable. Mark rubs his chin, brow furrowed, then nods sharply. Okay, let me get this drafted. I'll call Violet, make sure I cover all of her concerns, and send it up to you when I'm done. I stand and straighten my jacket. Include whatever she needs in the contract. Her comfort is the priority. I'll work around her. He studies me, hands clasped on the desk in front of him. She'll need to be able to tell her best friend, Anna. It's not fair to ask her to lie, and she might need the support. I consider it for only a second. Include it in the NDA. Mark's shoulders relax almost imperceptibly, as if I've passed some kind of test. Okay. Just before I walk out the door, he calls out to me. Look after her, Tate. She's the only family I have left. All I can do is nod. And as I head back to the elevators, I reassure myself that all the reasons I have for making Violet my co-conspirator in this are logical and have nothing to do with the memory of her lips pressed against my neck as she came on my fingers.
Chapter 15. Violet. Mark slides the contract to me over the highly polished wooden table. As I take a sip of the water that an assistant brought for me, the ice clinks against the glass in response to the slight tremble of my hand. Since agreeing to Tate's proposition in principle, the process has moved quickly. 2 days ago, I received a tense phone call from my brother, where he laid out his concerns, and I reassured him that I knew what I was doing. This morning, I was summoned to King Plaza, the King Group's headquarters building in Manhattan. The high-rise is intimidating, from its marble-floored foyer to the impressively silent and swift elevator that carried me to the 53rd floor to this huge conference room with an incredible view of New York City. I've never visited Mark at work before. I've never had a reason. Or particularly wanted to. Not knowing he worked for his annoyingly arrogant college roommate. It's kind of ironic. Or maybe that's not the right use of the word. Honestly, who knows? I rein in my scattered thoughts and force myself to focus on the contract in front of me.
Take your time.
Mark says.
I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
I glance around the big empty room. Shouldn't Tate be here? The moment the words leave my mouth, I wish I could take them back. Of course he doesn't need to be here for this, and it doesn't matter to me whether he is or not. Soon I'll have to see far more of him than I ever planned, or wanted. It's not like having him here would be reassuring anyway. Mark is with me, and he's all the support I need. And yet, there's a heaviness in my chest that seems to be more than just nerves. Mark checks his watch.
He's in a shareholder meeting with his brothers. He said he'd try to make it.
With a nod, I focus back on the contract and start reading through it. I'm unfamiliar with some of the legal terminology, but a few things jump out at me. The term of this agreement will continue for a period of no less than 2 months, with a potential extension period of up to 6 months, in accordance with the provisions outlined in Section 23. In consideration of the services rendered under this agreement, the second party shall receive a sum of $50,000 per month, payable at the end of each month directly to the designated account. Both parties acknowledge the highly confidential nature of this arrangement. The second party agrees to accompany the first party to a minimum of 3 public events per month, which may include a combination of scheduled and spontaneous appearances. Both parties shall refrain from entering into any romantic relationships outside the scope of this agreement. While the nature of this agreement implies a romantic relationship in the public eye, both parties acknowledge that their interactions are purely for appearance and hold no real romantic intent. There will be no physical intimacy between the 2 parties. Any changes to the terms of this agreement must be mutually agreed upon in writing by both parties. No verbal modifications will be considered valid until... Wait. I scan a few lines up, then look at Mark. No physical intimacy? Did Tate ask you to include that? He shifts in his chair, his jaw tight.
I added that in on your behalf. Tate said to include anything that would make you feel more comfortable.
I give my head a little shake. In theory, I don't mind there being a limiting clause, since the last thing either of us wants is to expand on what we've already mistakenly done. But I assumed we would have to act like a real couple in public, at least to some extent. If Tate and I are going to convince the world that we're in a relationship, don't you think we might need to, I don't know, kiss in public at some stage? Mark rocks forward in his chair.
You've never been Tate's biggest fan, so I didn't want you to feel like you owed him anything more than your presence at his side.
For $50,000 a month, I should do more than just show up. I might not be his biggest fan, but he's paying me for a service, and the least I can do is make it believable. Mark presses his lips together, then huffs out a breath.
You want me to change it?
Halfway through his question, the door swings open and Tate walks in, followed by 2 dark-haired men just as tall as he is.
What are we changing?
He asks, his gaze sweeping over me with an intensity that dries my throat. I cringe inside. Talk about timing. Why did he have to walk in just as we were discussing the physical intimacy clause? Mark regards me, brows raised in question. With a sigh, I nod. Dragging the contract back across the table, he addresses Tate.
Violet wants me to add in kissing.
My mouth drops open at the same speed my stomach plummets. Why the hell did he say it like that? An irritatingly smug grin grows on Tate's handsome face.
She does she?
A wave of heat creeps up from my chest to my face. I just thought it would be unrealistic otherwise. If we're supposed to be dating, wouldn't we have to maybe I don't know, sell it or, act like we're... The more flustered I get, the wider Tate's smile grows. I grind to a halt and narrow my eyes at him. But on second thought, maybe we should leave in the
No.
He holds up both hands.
I think changing it is an excellent idea. In fact, maybe we should specify exactly how many kisses we should... I don't believe that's necessary.
Mark cuts in with a pointed look at Tate.
I'll include a phrase along the lines of including the minimum amount of physical intimacy required to establish the nature of the relationship, and that it will be at Violet's discretion.
Tate chuckles, his gaze meeting mine. The devilish curve to his lips sends a little shockwave through me, and instantly my mind goes in a direction it shouldn't. To memories of exactly how those lips felt against my breasts, how they might feel against other parts of my body. I quickly shake that thought away. I'm sure there are plenty of women out there who could tell me exactly how they feel, just like any other man's, I imagine. His fingers didn't feel like any other man's. God, why can't I stop thinking about that night? Luckily, I'm distracted from that train of thought when one of the dark-haired men behind Tate steps forward. He leans across the table and extends his hand.
Cole King, nice to meet you, Violet.
Ah, I'd assumed they were more lawyers, but these must be Tate's brothers. I stand and slip my hand into his. It's very nice to meet you too. The second man holds his hand out next.
Roman King.
I take them all in as they stand side by side across from me. While Cole and Roman both have dark hair and light eyes, Tate is blonde, with golden eyes. They're both as good-looking as Tate, but seem far more reserved. It's hard to see the family resemblance between them. All three men take a seat at the table.
We appreciate you doing this, Violet.
Cole says. I appreciate the compensation you're giving me to do it. A smile quirks the corners of his mouth, but Roman's serious demeanor doesn't crack. His icy gray eyes assess me, though it's impossible to tell whether he approves or whether I've come up wanting. As we run through the rest of the contract, Mark, and sometimes Tate or one of his brothers, answer my questions. I fight the self-consciousness that creeps in. With the three imposing King brothers sitting on the other side of the table, all focused on me, the scrutiny is overwhelming. Apart from the intimacy clause, the agreement doesn't need many changes. To my relief, they've even included a section that gives me permission to talk to Anna about this whole situation. Thank God, because I may have already spilled the beans to her. What eases my nerves the most is that Mark put the contract together. There's no way he'd screw me over, even if he does work for the King Group. A question hits me then. Did Tate have Mark handle this to give me that extra layer of reassurance? I glance up at him, only to find his eyes already on me. He looks far more serious than I think I've ever seen him, at least without a mask on. A spark of awareness crackles through me, and I quickly look back at Mark, who's gathering up the pages of the contract.
Give me a minute to make the changes, and we can get this signed,
he says, as he stands. With a smile to me and a nod at the other men, he disappears out the door. Cole and Roman stand too.
It was nice to meet you, Violet.
Roman says.
I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you in the future.
I smile a little stiffly at the reminder. As Roman strides out of the room, Cole leans down and murmurs in Tate's ear. Tate's eyes find mine, and he shakes his head, though a small smile plays at the corners of his mouth. Cole straightens and claps Tate on the back, then tips his head at me one last time before the door closes behind him. And suddenly Tate and I are alone.
Are you ready for this?
He asks, his voice pitched low.
The moment you sign that contract, you become my girlfriend.
A single rogue butterfly takes flight in my stomach. Your fake girlfriend. He lowers his chin in acknowledgement. but that smile returns.
How are your acting skills?
Isn't it a bit late to ask that question?
Probably.
He leans back in his chair.
Let's hope you can pull off kissing me then, since you were the one who insisted on having it in the contract.
Too familiar irritation flashes through me. Ugh, why does he have to be so smug? I think I can feign being into you for a few seconds at a time.
Is that so?
The way one of his brows arches has me pulling my shoulders back and raising my chin. Yes. He stands suddenly and rounds the desk. I turn in my chair and follow his movement, a sudden flurry of nerves taking over from the one rogue butterfly. What is he doing? He stops a foot in front of me.
Care to put that claim to the test?
My heart thunders as I stare up at him. What do you mean? He reaches down and grasps my hand, then tugs me to my feet.
Maybe you should prove you're up to the job before we sign. It would be the smart thing to do, wouldn't it?
Slowly, he takes me in, his gaze sweeping over every inch of my face before finally landing on my lips. He's good at this faking it stuff. If his expression alone was all I had to go by, I might actually think he wants to kiss me. Mark, we'll be back in a second. I try not to wince at the way the words come out as a breathless whisper.
Let's see how you perform under pressure, then.
With one big, warm hand curved around my nape, he uses his thumb to tilt my jaw up.
Are you ready?
When I force myself to focus on him, there isn't even a hint of the amusement I expected to find on his face. Instead, his eyes burn into me with a heat that sends my internal temperature skyrocketing. I nod, my whole body humming under his touch, but he doesn't lower his head, and he doesn't kiss me. Instead, he ghosts his thumb over my mouth. And God, why does this feel so real? It shouldn't. We're minutes away from signing the contract that spells out the terms and conditions of this relationship. Not to mention Tate is the last man I should want to kiss. And yet, when he lowers his head until his lips hover over mine, and I inhale the clean, masculine scent of him, anticipation shivers over my skin.
Show me what you've got, butterfly.
He murmurs. He's not going to make it easy on me. Or maybe he wants me to prove exactly how committed I am to this arrangement. Either way, I won't back down from this challenge. Not when true brew is at stake. I go up on my toes and slide my hand into the soft strands of hair at the back of his neck. My pulse kicks into high gear, and excitement skitters up my spine. Just as I'm closing the space between us, Mark's voice sounds from outside the room. I leap away from Tate and turn to face the windows behind me, just as the door swings open. Tate's low chuckle scorches my skin, but I don't dare look at him.
Okay, I've made those changes.
I turn to my brother when his words cut off abruptly. He squints at me where I'm standing at the window, then narrows his gaze further when he shifts his attention to Tate, who is standing suspiciously close by. I'm too scared to look at Tate, afraid that this time I'll see the amusement he was hiding before. So I keep my attention focused just over Mark's shoulder, willing my still hammering pulse to slow.
Everything okay?
Mark asks.
Everything's fine.
Tate says.
Violet was just demonstrating her excellent acting skills.
His voice is casual, almost flippant. Probably because he actually was acting when he all but dared me to kiss him. And now the heat in my cheeks has more to do with embarrassment than anything else. I feel like I've been played. It's ridiculous because pretending to be attracted to him is exactly what I signed up for. But I didn't expect to lose track of that within the first few minutes. We haven't even signed the damn contract yet. I close my eyes and exhale. I'll do better from now on. Finally composed enough to face him, I shoot Tate a quick glance. Just as I expect, he looks completely unruffled. That cool, slightly amused expression he always wears is even more grating than usual. I look away. Now that I know how easily he can fall in and out of the act, I'll make sure to remain just as detached. Mark has a little crease between his brows, as if he doesn't quite believe Tate. He'd be smart not to. But I reassure him anyway. Just working out some of the logistics of playing a misguidedly doting girlfriend. It might be a struggle to make it believable, but I'll manage.
I'm happy to help you practice any time you need,
Tate says. I don't turn toward him or acknowledge his comment. I also ignore the quiet laugh he lets out. Keeping my focus straight ahead, I sit back down in my chair. Mark does the same. Instead of going back around the table, Tate surprises me by pulling out the chair next to me. His leg brushes mine, but I swivel away a fraction.
Better not do that once we've signed,
he murmurs, while my brother is preoccupied with separating the documents.
You're supposed to be crazy about me, remember? We don't want to see any tabloid articles about there being trouble in paradise.
This time I turn my narrowed gaze on him, and the corners of his mouth curl up. He's enjoying himself. I get the horrible feeling I've just signed up to endure months of Tate King having too much fun at my expense. But if I can save True Brew, then it will all be worth it. With a sigh of resignation, I turn away from his too handsome face and pick up the pen. Let's get this over with.
Chapter 16. Tate. That's it for me. Any questions? I ask the room. I wrap up my daily meeting with my marketing team by going over the few issues they raise and possible solutions to them. We're on track to launch the second stage of the Genesis 1 marketing plan, and we're getting more interest from buyers as we near the first stage of construction. My team is working overtime on the project, but it'll all be worth it. The room is abuzz with excitement. This development has the potential to be a huge success for the King Group, and every person here knows it. Once the room is cleared out, I make my way to the elevator. When I exit on the top floor, I go right and head toward Cole's office instead of going left toward mine. Cole's PA, Samson, nods at me as I pass his desk. I don't bother to knock before opening the door and walking in. Samson would have stopped me if Cole didn't want to be interrupted. And about the only reason my brother would care about me walking in unannounced is if Delilah was in here with him. He's on his phone when I enter, and he waves me toward a seat. He hangs up a moment later and straightens in his chair. That was the UK office, he says. They have the results of the feasibility study, and it's positive. It highlighted a growing interest in owning luxury high-rise properties in London among affluent professional and international buyers, specifically with a focus on luxury and sustainability. That's good news for us, since it's exactly what we're offering with Genesis 1. If we move fast, we can corner that market before our competitors catch up. It'll be about marketing it correctly. I cross an ankle over my knee and lean back. We're selling an exclusive lifestyle, a chance to be part of something groundbreaking. Have they started looking at potential sites? Cole doesn't answer. He's picked up his phone and is staring down at it. My brows rise. Cole? I prompt him. Yeah, sorry. What? I cock my head. It's rare for Cole to tune out like that, especially during work discussions. Something on your mind? He rubs the back of his neck. Sorry, I'm just distracted. He slumps back in his seat and drums his fingers on the arm of his chair. Delilah and I had an argument this morning, and it has me on edge. His brows pull down. I don't like when she's angry at me. I hide my smile. It's hard to believe this is the man who spent years being cold as fucking ice to everyone around him before he met her. And what did you argue about? He picks up his pen and fiddles with it. She was making suggestions for the new King International Hotel, and I got distracted by something. He glances at me, then quickly away. I lost track of the conversation. She accused me of not caring about her input, and I may have responded by telling her that I wasn't interested in mixing business and pleasure right then, and that if she wanted to talk business, she should make an appointment at the office. A lungful of air escapes me, and all I can do is stare at him. You told your fiancée to make an appointment to talk to you? Cole grimaces. I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. She was wearing this little low cut. He shoots me a glare. As if it's my fault, he was half a second away from describing what had the power to make him so lust-drunk, he told Delilah to schedule a time to talk with him about work. And, to be honest, the smallest of smirks curves his lips. I like when she comes to the office to see me. I bet he does. I eye the desk between us, which has no doubt seen a lot of action. They've probably done it on every surface of this office by now. Suddenly overly conscious of what might have occurred on or around the chair I'm sitting on, I edge forward, minimizing my contact with the possibly contaminated leather. Not the most tactful way to request some afternoon delight, I would imagine. His smirk disappears, and he runs a hand through his hair. She was less than impressed. I can't help the laugh that escapes me. Delilah may be a sweetheart most of the time, but she doesn't hesitate to call Cole out on his bullshit. And clearly, that's what happened this morning. Her ability to ruffle Cole's feathers never stops being amusing. She's good for him. Since they met, he's less the guarded COO of the King Group and more the brother I remember from our childhood. And by childhood, I mean the years before the three of us discovered what a farce our family actually was. Before we found out that the ties that bound us together were made up of money, power, and our shared bloodline, with no room for love, and definitely not for affection. We were brought up to believe that the King name and the wealth and influence associated with it were the only things that mattered. Dad made sure to drill that into our heads from the minute we could understand the concept. Of course, without ever saying the words, he made sure I was aware that none of his blood runs in my veins. I could probably credit that for why I took all his lessons with a grain of salt. How are you feeling about your first public appearance with Violet? Cole asks. Tomorrow night is the annual Save the Rainforest charity ball and our first appearance as a couple. What should I be feeling? I ask, ignoring the kick of anticipation that tightens my muscles. All we have to do is show up and make sure the photographers get a few good shots of us. The corners of Cole's mouth twitch upward. Just make sure your girlfriend doesn't look like she wants to strangle you while they do it. I laugh. After our almost kiss 2 days ago when we signed the contract, Violet was anything but the warm, loving girlfriend she was supposed to be portraying. She barely looked at me as we signed, and she rushed out before the ink got a chance to dry. Considering we weren't on display at the moment, I wasn't particularly bothered. Delilah's going, isn't she? I asked Cole. She'll be there, hopefully after having forgiven me. His expression shifts into a smug grin. Multiple times. I groan. I don't need to hear about your plans for make-up sex. Just don't do anything stupid to make things worse. I want to introduce her to Violet. I'm sure Delilah will be happy to have another woman to talk to instead of having to deal with your possessive ass hovering over her all night. Cole's brows draw together. I don't hover. You absolutely do. And you glare at any man who even considers coming near her. He doesn't argue that point. You're just lucky I let you get anywhere near her. I grin. You don't have to worry about me. I'm a taken man now, don't forget. He eyes me for a long moment. You sound way too happy about it, considering how reluctant you were to begin with. I shrug. Not that I'd admit it, but maybe I am looking forward to this arrangement. The thought of spending more time with Violet is appealing in a way it shouldn't be, considering how she feels about me. There's no reason I can't make the best of the situation. No reason at all. His expression is a little too bland for my liking. I scrutinize him, searching for his angle. Is it some kind of strange payback for when I interfered in his relationship? Regardless, I don't have time to figure out what he's insinuating, so I do what I do best, and ignore it. I push myself up from the chair. I look forward to seeing you and Delilah tomorrow night then. Delilah, more than you, obviously. Then I'm gone, heading out the door with a smile on my face. Not long ago, our interactions were nothing more than curt emails about work. They say every cloud has a silver lining, and if Dad's arrest was the cloud that had hung over our company and our lives, then my improved relationship with my brother is the silver lining. Roman might still be a work in progress. He's completely consumed by his role as CEO, but hopefully, given time, I'll see some changes there as well. With a glance at my watch, I pull out my phone and find my short text conversation with Violet. Are the stylists there? I organized a team of stylists to go to her apartment and help her choose a dress and shoes to wear to the gala tomorrow, as well as some outfits for other events we'll probably have to attend during our arrangement. Her response is immediate and short.
Yes.
Have you found a dress for tomorrow night yet?
Not yet.
The responses make it clear she's still disgruntled. Her annoyance, strangely, makes me smile. The funny thing is, I've never seen Violet be anything less than friendly and sweet, except with me. I get under her skin, and I like that I have that power. I like getting a reaction from her. What we did at Onyx can't ever happen again, but that doesn't mean I can't take advantage of my new role in her life. I grin to myself as I tap out another message. Looking forward to our first date, Butterfly. There's no immediate response this time, and I can imagine her studying the message, wondering if there might be some other meaning to my words. The funny thing is, there isn't. For the first time in a long time, I am looking forward to attending one of these events. When Violet's response finally comes in, I have to laugh.
It's not a date, and you need to stop calling me Butterfly.
I quickly type out my reply. Yes, it is, and not a chance. See you tomorrow, Butterfly. Still smiling, I slide my phone back into my pocket. Tomorrow night will be interesting, to say the least. I can't wait to see how well Violet acts the part of my girlfriend under the scrutiny of cameras and the public. I get the feeling she'll keep me on my toes. This time, I embrace the thrill of exhilaration that sparks through me. I have no idea what to expect from her, and that's exactly what makes her so damn intriguing.
Chapter 17. Violet. The makeup artist and hairstylist that Tate organized for me left 20 minutes ago, and I'm staring at my reflection in my bathroom mirror. I've never looked like this before, so polished and put together. The shimmery gold material of the dress I chose yesterday clings to my curves and falls to the floor in a perfect drape. The neckline dips just low enough to show the swell of my breasts, while almost all of my back is left exposed. My eyes have been beautifully painted to make their blue color pop. My lips are a subtle glossy pink, and my hair has been styled into gentle waves that tumble down my spine and over my shoulders. A few strands are loosely braided along the sides and meet at the back, where they've been woven together and pinned to add a whimsical touch. I look like me, and yet not me. Finally forcing myself to look away, I pick up my phone from the bathroom counter and check the time. Tate will be here to pick me up soon, and my stomach is roiling with nerves. Part of me wishes that our first appearance as a couple could be more casual, more subdued. It would relieve some of the pressure tightening my chest if we were going somewhere a little less high profile. But then, being seen together is the whole point of this arrangement. I give myself one final inspection, then head to the front room to wait. My nerves get the best of me, so rather than sitting patiently, I head straight for the window. When I move the curtain aside and peer out, there's no long black car parked outside yet. Though I should have expected that. Tate will probably call me when he's near so I can meet him downstairs. Letting the curtain fall, I turn and pace back across the small room. I shouldn't be this nervous. It's not like I'm incapable of making small talk with strangers. Spending almost every day at the coffee shop talking to customers means I've had plenty of practice. And thanks to Tate arranging the dress and my hair and makeup, I look as much the part as I can. When my phone beeps, I pull it out of my clutch. It's Anna. She stopped by earlier to hold my hand as I got ready, but since she has a date of her own tonight, I sent her home after an hour so she could get ready herself. In typical Anna fashion, she found it incredibly entertaining that I ended up in this situation. Thank God the NTA allows me to discuss it with her. Even if I hadn't already told her about it, there was no way I could have successfully lied about my sudden change in feelings toward Tate. Not after I went into detail about my less-than-stellar opinion of him when we left Onyx the other night. I swipe open her message. Is he there yet? Not yet. I think I'm wearing a hole in my carpet. Relax, Vi. You look stunning in that dress. He won't know what hit him. Thanks. But also, why did I agree to do this again? For all the free food and wine? Ah, yes. I remember now. Seriously, you're going to dazzle him tonight. Just remember, it's for a good cause. Plus, maybe he's not as bad as you think. You might even have fun. I'm in the middle of typing a reply about her overuse of exclamation marks when a knock on the door startles me. Tate came all the way up here to get me? Ignoring the nerves that tumble through me, I delete my message and tap out another quick one, letting Anna know he's here. Then I rush to the door, unlock the bolt, and swing it open. My heart does a little unwanted spasm in my chest at the sight of him in a tuxedo. The black jacket stretches across his shoulders, making him look even taller and broader than usual, and his crisp white shirt molds to his. The item in his right hand distracts me entirely from my perusal, because the man is twirling the stem of a single delicate violet between his fingers. When I drag my focus back up to his face, his golden eyes are fixed on me. Emotion rises in my throat, but I choke it back. God, what would it be like to have a man show up at my door like this for real? A man who isn't a playboy, who's only in this situation because of his well-earned reputation for not taking women on dates. Still, when one corner of his lips curves up and he holds the violet out to me, I can't help but smile as I take it. Did you steal this out of someone's garden? He chuckles and rocks back on his heels.
How did you guess? I even had to trample over their petunias to get it.
I shake my head at the vision of Tate in his tuxedo clambering over a fence to pick a flower for me. Why do I find that very hard to believe? Stepping back, I hold the door open for him. Do you want to come in for a moment? I just need to grab my purse. He follows me inside and pushes the door closed as I swipe my clutch off the counter. With it in one hand and the flower in the other, I turn to Tate.
I don't think there's a small enough vase in existence for this.
He closes the distance between us and takes the flower from me, his fingers brushing mine as he does. Then he reaches up and tucks it into the braid over my right ear. His gaze sweeps my face, then drops down the length of me before meeting my eyes again.
Beautiful,
he says softly. It's not just one butterfly that takes flight this time. It's a whole kaleidoscope. A tiny breath escapes me. One I hope he doesn't notice. He's good at this. I have to keep reminding myself of why that is. He's had a lot of practice seducing women over the years. Hell, the first time I met him, he'd sweet-talked 2 women into bed with him, and I had to experience the whole damn event through the walls of Mark's bedroom. I shudder at the memory of holding the pillow over my ears to mute the moans and squeals of ecstasy. Not to mention, as much as I'd like to forget, I've already succumbed to his charms once myself. I refuse to let that happen again. Being another notch on his bedpost is the last thing I want. So I merely give him a tight smile and step back. We should go. He holds his hand out, gesturing to the door.
After you.
Though he doesn't touch me as we leave my apartment, He might as well. I can feel his presence, like a warm shiver against the exposed skin of my back, as I lead him to the stairs. Neither of us speaks as we descend, the silence causing my nerves and apprehension to ratchet higher. How is this possibly going to work if I'm this on edge after only a few minutes in his company? I force my shoulders down from around my ears, and slow, so we're walking side by side. Tell me what I need to know about your family before we get there. His lips quirk.
Delilah, Cole's fiancée, will be there. She's great. She'll take you under her wing. Cole will do his best to include you, but don't expect him to be overly chatty. Roman, well, if you get more than a smile and a few words from him, then consider yourself fortunate.
Will your mother be there? His response to that question is a clipped
Yes.
His expression when I peek up at him is unreadable. Your brothers obviously know this is fake, but what about Delilah and your mom?
They both know. Cole would tell Delilah regardless. And it was better to make Mom aware. Otherwise, she'd be the most vocal in questioning my sudden change in relationship status.
His tone cools at the end. Obviously, his mom isn't his favorite topic. At the bottom of the stairs, he opens the door and holds it for me. Such a gentleman, I say, looking up at him as I pass.
Only on the streets.
He winks. I groan. Does that line actually work on anyone? He chuckles.
No.
Despite my best efforts to remain unaffected, I can't stop the laugh that bubbles up. During our limited interactions over the years, he's always remained cocky and arrogant, but something seems different now. He's still those things, of course, and he's still clearly aware of the effect he has on women. But aside from all his flirtatious charm, he doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. And though I hate to admit it, that quality is disarming. My laugh dies quickly when he splays his big hand over my lower back and guides me toward the car. The unexpected contact has a silent breath shuddering out of me. I'm really going to have to get used to his casual touches when we're out in public. Tate's driver is already waiting as we approach and is holding the back door of the limo open for us.
Violet, this is Jeremy.
Tate says. I hold out a hand. Hi, it's nice to meet you. Jeremy's brows shoot up, and his eyes flick to Tate, as if he's surprised. But then he focuses on me, his face splitting in a grin. He takes my hand, giving it a little shake.
Good evening, ma'am.
Once he's stepped back behind the open door, Tate helps me slide into the car. He follows, sitting close, but not too close, and a moment later the car pulls away from the curb. Hit with another wave of nerves, I run my fingers back and forth over the silky material of my dress, concentrating on the texture against my skin. Tate covers my hand with his, the heat of his palm grounding me.
You have nothing to worry about.
I swallow and nod my thanks at him. He removes his hand, and a small part of me wishes he'd left it there. If only because the warmth of it was reassuring. Sooner than I'd like, we arrive outside the venue. There's a red carpet with the press lined up along it, just like in the movies. A glamorous-looking couple walk toward the building's entrance, and camera flashes explode as they pass. It takes a moment to recognize the man as one of cinema's hottest stars, but when I do, all the air rushes from my lungs. I turn to Tate and force myself to take a breath. Just a casual Friday night for you, then? He focuses on the actor and his date, who have almost reached the end of the carpet, and his gaze narrows.
I can introduce you later if you like. Just don't get any ideas. You're too crazy about me to flirt with anyone else, remember?
Even though I have no intention of flirting with anyone, I tap my lips with my pointer finger and hum. I don't remember a no flirting clause in the contract. The corners of his mouth curl up.
We'll amend it on Monday.
So, until then... He grips my chin, tipping my face up to meet his hot stare.
Until then, butterfly, You only have eyes for me. That's the agreement.
My pulse kicks into high gear, blood rushing in my ears. With another forced breath, I will my heart rate to steady. He just said it himself. His attention, his words and actions are all about the agreement. It isn't until he smooths his thumb across my lower lip, tugging it out from between my teeth, that I realize I've been staring too long. When I blink back to reality, there's something dark and potent flickering in his gaze.
You with me?
His voice is low, his fingers still warm against my skin. I let the breath I've been holding in a little too long trickle out, then take another one to steady myself. This is just us getting ready to perform for the press. I summon my brightest smile. Yes. He angles his head down, gaze flickering to my lips for the briefest of moments.
Good girl.
Instantly, a memory flares to life inside me.
Such a good girl, leaving a mess all over me.
The sudden ache, low and deep inside me, has me pressing my thighs together. I turn my face away to hide the flush creeping up my neck, and his fingers drop. An instant later, Jeremy's opening the door and Tate's climbing out of the car. Then he's offering his hand to me. I accept it, clinging a little tighter than I normally would as I climb out after him. The last thing I want is to face plant on the red carpet in front of a crowd of photographers. With his hand on my back again, Tate leads me toward the entrance. As camera flashes erupt around us, I focus on keeping a serene expression on my face and avoid looking directly at them. Tate! Mr. King! Who's your date tonight, Tate? All the way down the carpet, voices call out around us, but Tate keeps us moving until we're past them and inside the expansive foyer. Shouldn't you have introduced me as your girlfriend? I ask. He looks down at me with that devilish grin of his.
Gotta keep some mystery going to pique their interest. Plus, if we shove it in their faces right off the bat, they're bound to be suspicious. I'd rather not make it obvious that this is a PR stunt.
Makes sense. I refuse to acknowledge the burn in my chest at his words. We make our way through the throng of beautifully dressed people. The atmosphere reeks of money and power. It's so potent, the air is thick with it. Crystal chandeliers drip from the ceiling the way diamonds drip from the necks and ears of most of the women here. Finally, we approach what is obviously our table. I recognize Cole and Roman and smile at them as they both push back their chairs and stand.
Tate.
Cole nods at his brother, then turns his attention to me.
Violet, it's nice to see you again.
You too, I say. Roman runs his gaze over me, his attention appearing to linger on where Tate's hand is resting on my waist. It's hard to know what the eldest King brother is thinking. His aloof expression and cool eyes give nothing away. He's in on the plan, so it's not like he disapproves of Tate's girlfriend being here, but I'm also not convinced he agrees with me as Tate's choice. I smile at him anyway. It's good to see you again too, Roman. To my surprise and reassurance, his mouth tilts up.
We're glad you could join us.
A beautiful woman with dark hair and green eyes appears at Cole's side. Immediately, he loops an arm around her.
Violet, I'd like to introduce you to my fiancée, Delilah.
The possessive way he holds her close to him, and the way his expression softens when he looks down at her, sends a small pang of longing through me. What must it feel like to be loved like that? I always imagined it was how Dad loved my mom. With how protective he was of me, it's hard to believe he wasn't the same with her. The pang of longing is replaced by the familiar ache of loss, one I always get when I think about my mom. I may not have memories of her, but I have hundreds of the way Dad used to talk about her. I can only hope that one day I'll be lucky enough to be loved the way he loved her, the way I can already tell Cole loves his fiancée. The woman in question steps forward and envelops me in a tight hug. I'm taken aback by the reception, but before I can find my bearings and hug her back, she lets me go and grasps my hands. "I'm so happy to meet you," she says, her smile bright and genuine. "I'm looking forward to having another woman to spend time with at these things." Her warmth immediately puts me at ease. It must be tough for her to be surrounded by these 3 imposing men all the time. I smile back at her. "I'm glad I can do double duty as Tate's girlfriend and as company for you." She keeps my hand in hers and tugs, signaling for me to sit in the chair beside hers. Tate pulls out the chair next to mine and unbuttons his jacket with one hand before settling into it.
"Where's Mom?"
He asks Roman, who's across the table from us.
"She's sitting with the Jensens tonight. Actually."
Cole says.
"Don't look now, but she's on her way over. She must have spotted you coming in."
Nerves dance in my stomach at the thought of meeting Tate's mom, and I force myself not to swivel in my seat to watch her approach. A tall, striking blonde woman glides up to the table, her gaze sweeping over everyone before landing on me. Her eyes are cool, assessing.
"Mom, this is Violet."
Tate says.
"Violet, my mother, Beverly King."
She offers me a nod, her expression unchanging. I guess now I know where Roman gets it from. I smile brightly and clasp my suddenly sweaty hands in my lap. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. King." "The pleasure is all mine, I'm sure," she says, although I'm not sure her tone backs that up. "I've heard about your arrangement with Tate. What an inventive solution to his problem." Her words are edged with a subtle sharpness. "I trust you're finding it to your benefit." My skin prickles at the implication, but I maintain my composure. "I hope it's mutually beneficial." Tate clears his throat.
"You may find it hard to believe, Mom, but Violet's doing me a favor. Not everyone wants to spend their evenings drinking overpriced wine and mingling with the rich and bored."
His tone is light, but there's no missing the thread of sarcasm. Mrs. King's gaze flicks toward her youngest son, an unreadable expression crossing her face. "As long as you both get what you need from this partnership. I hope you enjoy your evening, Violet, as well as your time with the King family." With that, she gracefully moves away to mingle with other guests. My shoulders sag a little after she's gone. Delilah leans over and gives me a reassuring smile. "Try not to let her bother you. That's Beverly King in all her glory. You get used to it." "I suppose I won't really have to worry about getting used to it," I respond. She cocks her head. "I suppose not. How are you doing, by the way? I know it's not easy being thrust into this kind of environment." Relief that she's aware of the situation and I can talk to her about it washes over me. "It's a little nerve-wracking. I'm not sure that I'll fit in, and I can't help but worry that people will see straight through us. I want to do a good job. I just don't know if I can." "You'll do just fine. In fact, a little discomfort probably works in your favor. It's obvious to everyone that the women Tate has let himself be with weren't ever going to capture his heart. It's more believable that he'd fall for someone outside his usual circles, a woman who challenges him to think and feel differently than he has before." I can't help but look at Cole on her other side, his arm draped over the back of her chair, hand brushing her shoulder, as if he can't abide not touching her. Is she talking from personal experience? I stifle my curiosity. Even if she is, she isn't talking about reality here. She's discussing the believability of our act. I smile at her. "That's good, then. Now Tate and I just have to make it convincing that we like one another. If we can do that, then we should be good to go." Her brow furrows. "You don't like Tate?" "Oh, no. I cringe inside. Why did I say that? He's her future brother-in-law, after all. I glance at Tate, relieved to find him busy talking to his brothers. Dislike isn't the right word. It's more, I don't really have anything in common with him. And I guess he didn't make the greatest first impression. That's all." I almost stumble over my words in my hurry to reassure her, just in case she thinks I'm not taking this seriously. It doesn't mean I'm not fully committed to helping him with this situation. She tilts her head, her lovely green eyes assessing. Then she smiles a small, almost knowing smile. Considering it's Tate, I can only imagine what kind of impression he made. She leans forward, lowering her voice. Just don't let a bad first impression color your opinion too much. If you can let go of that, then I think he'll show you the kind of man he really is. Her knowing smile turns a little wicked. Of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't give him hell if he's being obnoxious. I grin back. I think I can manage that. Delilah turns the conversation to other topics, and after a glass of a deliciously crisp white wine, which Tate pours for me, most of my misgivings have dissipated. This isn't so bad. Delilah is sweet and funny, and the conversation between Cole, Roman, and Tate about their latest venture, Genesis 1, is intriguing. I'm engrossed in the discussion about their marketing strategy and wondering if I can pick up any tips that could be translated to True Brew, when Tate casually leans back in his chair, drapes his arm over the back of mine, and starts playing with a tendril of my hair. Instantly my breath catches, and I freeze. I should have been expecting it, but it takes me by surprise anyway. Maybe it's the nonchalant way he did it, as if touching me like this is the most natural thing in the world. I school my features into something I hope resembles serenity, not wanting to give the game away to observers by looking shocked that my boyfriend is being affectionate. In fact, I go one better and lean farther back so his arm is basically around my shoulders. He turns to me and I give him a smile that says, "See, I can play this just as well as you." His lips quirk up, but without a word to me, he merely joins in with the conversation again. Except a moment later, he cups my neck and traces circles with his thumb on the sensitive skin just below my ear. Oh God. If I didn't know before now that the spot he's caressing is an erogenous zone, I do now. The slow circles he's drawing have goosebumps erupting over every inch of me, and before I can help myself, I shiver. Unfortunately, he catches my reaction, his thumb pausing for a fraction of a second before starting up again, even slower and more sensuously this time. He knows exactly what his touch is capable of. I grit my teeth as my pulse quickens and my nipples tighten and rasp against the material of my dress. Willing myself to ignore the sensations he's drawing out of me, I focus extra hard on the conversation.
The higher profile the groundbreaking ceremony, the better,
Tate is saying.
The media buzz and social media posts will get people talking. We can bring in key stakeholders. Even invite celebrities and maybe a few dignitaries. Make it a day-long event. We've already got the team working on VR tours based on the architectural renderings. We could have booths set up to allow people to check out the finished product at the actual site.
Roman, mouth fixed in a skeptical frown, drums his fingertips on the table.
Don't you think that's a bit gimmicky? A few years ago, yeah.
Tate responds, lounged back in his chair, his arm still draped across mine and his thumb still moving, threatening to distract me completely.
But in this day and age, gimmicks sell, especially to younger age groups. If our primary target is the younger, more socially conscious demographic, then this is how we attract them. We can't underestimate the impact of social media these days. I'm not underestimating it. I just want to ensure we're staying on brand.
Roman continues, his tone measured.
Genesis 1 is about luxury and sustainability, not just flashy events. We don't want to put off our secondary target markets either.
Cole says.
Affluent professionals and international buyers might not look favorably on a media circus.
Tate's thumb stops moving and his hand tightens around my neck as he leans forward. I don't hear the words he speaks to his brothers, though, because the grip he has on me sends heat flaring up my spine. Before I can wrap my head around that reaction, Delilah breaks into the conversation. "Why don't we shelve the work discussion?" she asks, though it's more of a strong suggestion than a question. "You can do that at the office on Monday. There are dozens of people here waiting for a moment to talk to one of you. Plus," she lowers her voice, "I thought the whole idea was for Tate and Violet to be seen together." Roman scrubs his hand over his chin.
You're right. I saw Carl Masters when I got here. He's been wanting to discuss increasing his investment in the King Group. I should catch up with him. He and his wife never stay long at these events.
He stands and regards Tate and me like he has something to say, but he just nods at us, then walks away. I lean toward Tate. Is he always so intense?
That's one way to describe him. Roman is all business all the time, ever since his divorce, more so since becoming CEO.
I can't help the small gasp that escapes me. He was married? It's hard to imagine the aloof eldest King brother having a wife. Tate tracks his brother's departing back.
When he was younger. It didn't last long.
He's not dating anyone now? Lips turned up, he shakes his head.
Whining and dining women is pretty low on his list of priorities.
I hit him with a faux, innocent smile. Must be a family trait. Eyes glittering, he brushes his thumb against my pulse point and leans in close.
I'm sure you'd agree that some of us have developed far more enjoyable skills when it comes to women.
His focus drops to my lips. But before my heart can hammer more than twice, he turns his attention over his shoulder toward the ballroom behind us.
Delilah's right. We should socialize. Make sure people see us together.
I inhale, taking a moment to center myself. I'm here for a reason, and I'm determined to do a good job, despite his deliberate attempts to ruffle my feathers. Okay. When he stands, I follow his lead. Delilah looks up and mouths, "Good luck." "Thanks," I mouth back. Then I take a deep breath and follow Tate as he leads me into the crowd.
Chapter 18. Tate. When I put my hand on Violet's lower back, it's easy to tell myself it's what the act calls for, but I'm self-aware enough to know that it has more to do with how much I enjoy touching her. Sitting next to her, stroking her silky skin while she chatted with Delilah and occasionally joined in my conversation with my brothers, felt far better than such a simple thing should. The way she shivered under my fingertips had all sorts of dirty thoughts spiraling through my head. She's so fucking responsive. If she were really my girlfriend, I'd tease her like that all evening, knowing that at the end of the night, I'd take her home and make good on that teasing until the sun came up. I'm starting to understand why Cole can't keep his hands off Delilah. With my focus on the crowd we're approaching, all of them sizing up each other with glittering eyes and razor-sharp smiles, I bend down and murmur to Violet, "Ready to dive into the shark tank?" Her laugh comes out on a nervous breath.
As long as I don't get bitten.
I can't help it when my attention drifts to the swell of her breasts in that sexy-as-fuck dress, but I have enough respect to fight the urge to imagine marking her creamy skin with my teeth. Violet's body presses close to mine as we navigate through the crowd, her head moving from side to side as she takes it all in. Her eyes are wide, and there's a nervous tilt to her full lips. Lesson 1 in high society, I say close to her ear. Always smile, even if you can't stand the people around you.
You mean like this?
She gives me the same too-sweet smile she used to give me whenever she visited Mark. I chuckle. Not sure I believe you still hate me, Butterfly. Her brows pull together.
I never hated you.
So your nose just wrinkled every time I walked into the room because... Her nose wrinkles again, proving my point.
Because you always had some poor deluded woman trailing after you, desperate for a night in your bed.
Don't be so judgmental. Those women knew what they wanted and weren't afraid to ask for it. She rolls her eyes.
And you were more than happy to give it to them.
With a hum, I take her in from head to toe, much like a recent night at Onyx. She huffs, but her cheeks turn pink.
We should have made a stipulation that we aren't allowed to mention that night.
I smirk. Too late now. She crosses her arms.
Verbal addendum.
Damn, I love when she gets fired up like this. Doesn't count unless it's signed. Her lips purse and her eyes narrow.
We can add it on Monday.
Sure. I'll just email your brother and ask him to add in a line about not mentioning the night I
Fine.
She shoots me a dirty little scowl, but a heartbeat later, that scowl transforms into a huge, beautiful smile. My breath stalls in my chest. Damn. I don't think Violet has ever smiled at me like that. It's a breathtaking sight. She pats me on the chest.
Thanks for the lesson. I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Then she turns away. I can't help the low laugh that rumbles out of me. When she looks back over her shoulder, her eyes sparkling and a little smile of satisfaction playing on her lips, it hits me almost like a blow to the gut. I could get used to those smiles, the genuine ones, the ones she gives me when she lets her walls down. Like some kind of lovesick puppy, I follow her to the bar, unwilling to let her get too far away. Not when she looks like that. I don't even have to scan the crowd to know that every man in our proximity is watching her. When I get to where she's waiting for me, I brace my hands on either side of her shoulders. Not too close, not crossing any lines. Although right now I don't just want to cross those lines. I want to erase them completely. But we have a contract, so this will have to do. You should be more careful, Butterfly, I say in a low voice so no one else can hear me.
Why?
Her pulse is throbbing erratically at the base of her throat. The sight of it triggers a memory, a sensation, the feel of it under my tongue. My dick swells in my pants. If I pressed a few inches closer, she'd feel it. Instead, I hold myself still while I answer her. I could get addicted to the way you smile at me. Her eyes widen and her lips part. The satisfaction that hits me is short-lived, though. Before Violet can come up with a retort, we're interrupted by the clearing of a throat from behind me. I hold Violet's gaze for a beat longer, then turn, tempering my expression so it doesn't show my annoyance.
Hello, Tate.
The familiar blonde-haired woman purrs.
It's been a while.
Amy's a socialite whose family moves in similar circles to mine. The heir to her mother's makeup empire, she spends her days dipping her toes into whatever job takes her fancy. Amy, how are you?
I'm wonderful now.
She coos, fluttering her lashes at me. The predatory glint in her eye is unmistakable. This is Violet, I say, resting my hand on the small of her back.
It's nice to meet you.
Violet says with a smile. Amy rakes her gaze over Violet, her eyes narrowing slightly.
Delighted.
That single word is clipped, an obvious dismissal. Then she turns her attention back to me. I grit my teeth at her rudeness. Violet's my girlfriend. Amy's eyes widen, and she turns back to Violet, this time scrutinizing her more thoroughly.
Girlfriend?
That's right. She touches my arm and trills a laugh.
Now I've heard everything. So, what do you do, Amy?
Violet asks, far more graciously than Amy deserves, considering how she's acting. I'm tempted to cut this conversation short and take Violet out on the dance floor, but Amy's one of the biggest gossips in this room. If we want news about our relationship to spread, and spread quickly, this is the way to do it. And there's a part of me, one that's growing stronger by the minute, that wants to see how far Violet's willing to go to sell this act. Fake or not, I know what I'd do if a man started flirting while I was standing by her side. There wouldn't be the faintest doubt that Violet was mine. But I signed on the dotted line. agreeing that physical intimacy between the two of us is at Violet's discretion. And fuck if I don't want to know what exactly it will take to get her to kiss me.
I'm a fashion designer,
Amy says, a hint of smugness in her tone. So that's what she's trying out these days.
And you?
Violet keeps her chin tipped up.
I own a coffee shop. A coffee shop? How cute.
I swear I can hear Violet's teeth grind together, but her composure doesn't waver. Violet's shop sells the best coffee I've ever tasted, I say. Violet's surprised gaze meets mine, and I quirk a brow at her.
Is that so?
Amy asks, giving me an overly enthusiastic smile.
Maybe you can take me to try it one day.
I'd laugh at the absurdity of her behavior if she wasn't insulting Violet. She's acting as if there's something between us when, in fact, there never has been. I'm pretty sure she slept with my dad, although that's never stopped her from making a play for me or my brothers. I won't look down on someone for having daddy issues, not when I have plenty of my own. But I draw the line at being anything more than civil to a woman who knowingly slept with a married man and now wants to complete the father-son set. As she continues to attempt to flirt with me, Violet's gaze flicks between us. I'm not encouraging Amy, not even a little. The woman is flat out ignoring my blatant disinterest in Violet's presence all on her own. My fake girlfriend has gone quiet beside me, but the waves of irritation radiating from her are palpable. I turn my full attention on her, willing her to read my mind. Because if she doesn't do something soon, I'm going to. Come on, butterfly. I'm yours now. Stake your claim before I break the terms of our agreement on the first fucking night.
Chapter 19. Violet. Whoever this Amy is, her attitude is really grating on me. I'm standing here, right next to Tate, yet she's blatantly ignoring my presence. Even after Tate told her I was his girlfriend, she's continued to flirt with him. I move closer to him as irritation rolls through me. In response, he glances down, his eyes glinting with what I assume is amusement at my frustration. I'm tempted to walk off and leave him to it. After all, this whole thing was his idea. What's the point of posing as his girlfriend if women are just going to disregard me anyway? He turns back to the beautiful blonde woman, his arm brushing mine. She's talking about some party she's hoping he'll attend. I don't think I'm included in that invitation. I hope you'll come, she says, squeezing his bicep a little too familiarly. Have they slept together? The question gnaws at me. Not that it matters if they have. For all I know, Tate slept with half the women here. Even so, the thought that he might have had his hands on her pricks at my chest.
Violet and I will have to check our schedule,
Tate says. Amy's gaze darts to me, then back to him quickly, her smile faltering for an instant. Well, you don't both need to be there. Tate doesn't physically react, but the air around us grows thick with tension at her words.
Why would I want to go to a party without my girlfriend?
Now, Amy's eyes are ping-ponging between us. Her hand flutters to her chest. You're actually serious? You're dating? Her tone is heavy with disbelief. Tate fixes his eyes on me.
I'd be stupid not to lock her down when I had the chance, wouldn't I? It took me a while to convince her, and she had very stringent terms and conditions when it came to agreeing to be with me. But I finally wore her down.
Oh, God. It hits me then. That stupid clause in the contract. Physical intimacy is at my discretion. I need to initiate it. He lifts one brow as if he knows I've finally caught on, and he's daring me the way he did in the conference room when we signed the contract. Yes, I put the clause in there, but can I follow through with it? I glance again at Amy, who still has a hand splayed across her chest, as if shocked or possibly horrified at the thought that Tate might actually be dating me. That's all it takes for me to make up my mind.
I'm still deciding if I was crazy to say yes, but so far, the benefits haven't been too unpleasant.
Without overthinking the move, I rest my hand on his hard chest, go up on my toes, and press my lips to his cheek. At least, that's my intention. Only Tate turns his head at the last moment. Just a little. Just enough so my mouth brushes the corner of his. As if he's been waiting for exactly this, he slides his hand around my waist, drags me to him, and brings his lips to my ear.
Took you long enough.
What are you doing? I whisper back.
She's still watching, and I'm not sure she's convinced.
His eyes flick between mine, then zero in on my mouth. A wicked grin tilts his lips.
Yes or no, butterfly?
My heart hammers against my ribcage. I can do this. I can kiss Tate for show and not feel anything. I know he won't. I swallow hard and murmur, yes, doing my best to ignore the way my stomach twists. It's nerves, not anticipation. Tate doesn't hesitate, dipping his head and brushing his lips across mine. At first, I think that's all it's going to be, but I should have known a man like Tate wouldn't half-ass things. He captures my chin, his fingers warm against my skin, then he presses his mouth firmly to mine. Out of sheer instinct, my eyes flutter shut and I open for him. He pushes his tongue into my mouth and instantly the kiss becomes harder, hungrier. Tingles course over my skin, and the noise of the ballroom around us fades as without thinking I kiss him back. My pulse races, and I can barely restrain myself from moaning when his teeth tug on my lower lip and his tongue strokes deeper. With one hand keeping me close, he slides the other down to collar my throat, and I press my thighs together as my core clenches in response. That involuntary reaction snaps me out of the haze I've drifted into. I've completely lost track of where I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. I pull back, trying not to let my embarrassment show. Because, once again, I let myself get swept up in the pretense. But when I try to step away, Tate tightens his hold on me. He looks back at Amy, who, for reasons unknown, is still standing there.
As you can see, I find it hard to keep my hands off my girlfriend.
Tate says. Yes, well, how nice. Her lips are pursed and she's obviously uncomfortable. After a half-hearted comment about hoping to see us both soon, she rushes away. She's quickly replaced by another person, though, so I don't have time to think about the kiss and how it affected me. Or maybe I don't want to think too hard about it. Tate keeps his arm wrapped around my waist, and I get so used to having it there that I even begin to enjoy the weight of it. After a delicious dinner, where I chat with Delilah and have a surprisingly enjoyable conversation with Tate and his brothers, we spend more time mingling. Tate's arm is around me again, and I find myself melting into his hold a little too easily. Finally, the night is over. We say goodnight to Tate's brothers and Delilah, but he doesn't bother to seek his mom out before we leave. It's only when we're safely ensconced in his limo, away from the music and the wine and the people, that I can no longer distract myself from thinking about his lips on mine. For some reason, I was expecting this role to consist mostly of Tate pointing at me and telling people I'm his girlfriend, with the occasional chaste hug or peck on the cheek to be convincing. I wasn't expecting him to put so much effort into making our relationship appear real. And I definitely wasn't expecting to find it so overwhelming being the focus of his attention that way. Now, as we sit in the back of the car, I have to fight the worry creeping in. This play-acting Tate's girlfriend was supposed to be easy. The opinion of him I established years ago should have ensured there was no possibility of developing real feelings. But In the short time we've spent together, that opinion is already changing. He might be a playboy, but apparently, even I'm not immune to his charm when he lays it all on me. Our ride home is silent. He's as lost in his thoughts as I am in mine. I don't mind the quiet. I've been indulging in small talk most of the night, so it's a welcome reprieve. I do wonder what's filling Tate's thoughts, though. I could ask him, but I'm not sure I want to know. Maybe I wasn't as good at playing the part of his girlfriend as he hoped. Maybe he's wishing he'd chosen someone else. Or maybe he's not thinking about me at all. His mind could very easily be fixed on his work after how often it was brought up tonight. Jeremy pulls up outside my building, and a moment later he opens the car door for me. As I step out onto the sidewalk, I turn back to Tate to say goodbye, only to find him already climbing out behind me. "You don't have to get out," I say.
What sort of boyfriend would I be if I kicked you out on the side of the road?
A laugh escapes me. A fake one? He steps closer, his big form crowding me, forcing me to look up at him.
I don't care if this is fake or not. You signed up to be my girlfriend, so I'll treat you exactly the way I would if you were actually mine.
I swallow past my dry throat. That's not the first time he's used the word mine. I should hate it far more than I do. With a shake of my head, I make one last effort to resist. "You don't need to..." He tucks a loose strand of hair behind my ear, stopping me mid-sentence, and cups the back of my head.
Don't argue with me, Butterfly. It's going to happen one way or the other. Either we walk together like a civilized couple, or I'll sling you over my shoulder and carry you up there.
He pulls back, that devilish look dancing in his eyes.
To be honest, I'm not sure which option I'd prefer.
I'd laugh it off if I didn't think Tate would do exactly what he'd described without a second thought. Deciding to save my energy for another battle I'm sure to have to wage against him, I step back and fish my keys out of my purse. "Come on then, Prince Charming. See me safely home." Silently, we take the stairs up to the 3rd floor. I unlock my door and step inside, then turn to face him. When I do, my pulse immediately races. God, he's gorgeous. He undid his bow tie in the car, and the way it hangs loose around his neck is so undeniably sexy, as if he's in the middle of stripping his clothes off, as if his next move will be to take me to bed and ravish me. A man like Tate probably wouldn't even make it to the bedroom. The thought has desire snaking its way through my veins. I can only hope he can't see the direction my mind has gone. I hope you're not expecting your fake boyfriend benefits to extend to me inviting you in for a drink. He props his shoulder against the doorframe, a smirk pulling at the corners of his lips.
If I was going to push for the full boyfriend experience, it wouldn't be a drink I was coming in for.
A slow wave of heat rolls through my body, leaving my skin flushed in its wake. Well, since the full boyfriend experience isn't on the table, I guess this is where we say goodnight. He straightens, unruffled.
I guess so.
He steps forward, focused a little too intently on my face.
Thank you for tonight, Violet.
His voice drops low.
You were very convincing.
The way he's looking at me feels too real. It's been a long time since a man's attention has caused my skin to tingle and butterflies to take flight in my stomach. It's all wrong for this situation. You'll call me when you need me? The breathiness of my voice makes my words sound far too suggestive. Instead of teasing me about it, his gaze flickers to my lips. Of its own volition, my tongue darts out and wets them. His eyes darken to a molten bronze. Does he want to kiss me again? Do I want him to? Maybe it's all the wine I've had tonight, but the line between what's real and what's fake is rapidly blurring in my head, and I can't risk that. This thing we're doing is supposed to be safe for the very reason that I'd never mistake it for real. So, I inhale shakily and step back, breaking the tension that flares between us. Tate scrubs his hand over his mouth, then drops it and smiles.
I'll definitely let you know when I need you. And when I do, I have no doubt you'll come.
My jaw drops at his obvious insinuation. Before I can think of a retort, he takes a step back of his own.
After all, that's the deal, right? You come when I need you. To play my girlfriend, that is.
I shake my head and bite back a smile of my own. I'm reading too much into Tate's behavior. He's just being his typical flirtatious self. I'm not sure if I'm relieved or disappointed that he's just messing around, but I know which one of those I should be. I take a hold of the door handle. Good night, Tate. With a dip of his head, he regards me from beneath his lashes.
Good night, Violet.
Almost reluctantly, I swing the door shut between us, then drop my forehead against the smooth wood. I've got a horrible feeling that keeping this professional might be more difficult than I thought. Chapter 20. Violet. Now, ladies, transition into downward dog. With a huff, I force my body to surrender to the instructor's command. Why did I let Anna talk me into an early morning yoga session? It's been so long since I've had the time or motivation to exercise, and my body is rebelling. All I can do is hope I'll appreciate it after the torture is over. You kissed him? Anna whispers to me from where she's effortlessly folded in half. A bead of sweat trickles down my temple. I had to make it believable. And it had nothing to do with this Amy woman making a move on your man. I try to glare at her, but my trembling arms almost buckle, and I quickly concentrate on my wobbly form. He's not my man. Thank goodness the instructor leads us through a cool down next. As we finish, and I'm sprawled on my mat on my back in Savasana pose, Anna whispers, "You know that, and he knows that, but she didn't know that," which meant she was being completely disrespectful. I sigh. She was. The instructor shushes us, and we quickly close our eyes and relax for the next few minutes. But if I thought the conversation was over, I was wrong. So when are you seeing him again? Anna asks as soon as the instructor releases us with a parting namaste. Wiping the sweat from my forehead with my towel, I heave myself to my feet. I'm not sure. He said he'll let me know. Anna casts me a look. You almost sound disappointed. What? No. I just wish there was more of a schedule, you know? So I'm not waiting around for a phone call and putting my social life on hold. Vi, I love you, but your social life sucks. I can't imagine you'll have to worry about canceling any big plans when he calls. She's right. And the smug look she's giving me says she knows it. Okay. I might as well admit it. She'll drag it out of me eventually anyway. Maybe I'm a tiny bit disappointed. I enjoyed last night more than I expected. Anna's smile is a little too big, and I know what that means. Don't get excited. It's still just business. Why can't it be business with benefits? If I was lucky enough to be fake dating a hot-as-hell billionaire, I'd be taking advantage of all the perks. I clamp down on the teeny-tiny irrational ball of jealousy that pings around my chest at the thought of Anna in my place. Tate probably would have been better off asking her to enter into this arrangement with him. Not only would she likely be able to pull the role off better than me, but she'd give him a run for his money in the seduction stakes, too. But I don't particularly like imagining his lips on hers the way they were on mine last night, or the perks they might take advantage of. Seduction is basically Tate's middle name, I mutter. It comes as naturally to him as breathing. The last thing I want is to develop any kind of connection with him just to have him walk away at the end. crease forms between her brows as she regards me. Maybe he wouldn't walk away. I laugh and shake my head. Tate has spent his adult life walking away from women. I can guarantee this won't be any different. Being anything less than businesslike with him is guaranteed to hurt me in the long run. You might be right. I nod, satisfied that she's seeing my point of view. But that one word brings a frown to my face. I saw the way he was with you at Onyx, both nights. And I don't know, that kind of reaction is the opposite of what I'd expect from a playboy. I roll my eyes, going for flippant even as my stomach knots. Whose side are you on? She cocks her head, a grin teasing her lips. I didn't know I had to pick a side. But now that I do, obviously I pick yours. Good. Although, she says, her smile getting wider, I hear Team Maybe Leopards Can Change Their Spots has a growing number of supporters. I throw my towel at her chest while holding back a laugh. Men like Tate don't change their spots. They have no reason to. Okay. She holds up her hands, finally conceding defeat. But the next time you go out, I want to hear all the juicy details first thing the next day. I'll call you, but I guarantee the details will be drier than that chocolate cake you baked that we never talk about. Her mouth drops open. You broke the rule, she whispers in mock horror. I smirk. That will teach you to consider changing sides. She snickers, but the amusement in her expression fades quickly. Look, babe, I know you're not Tate's biggest fan, but don't let that stop you from enjoying this situation. You're dating a billionaire, a hot billionaire. A hot billionaire who, for the next few months, is going to pretend to be crazy about you. I understand that you don't want to let your feelings get involved, but there's nothing to stop you from having fun with it. I chew on my bottom lip. She's right. I agreed to this arrangement. I might as well relax and enjoy it. Fine. From now on, I'm going to have fun being Tate King's fake girlfriend. I'll enjoy some of the perks. I ignore Anna's disappointed pout. And regardless of how charmingly flirty he is, I won't let it get to me. Anna grins. Exactly. Relax and have fun while Tate King wines and dines you for the next few months. My mind flashes back to last night, when he told me he'd developed far more enjoyable skills than wining and dining women. There's no doubt he's right about that, but I get the gut-sinking feeling that if he puts his mind to it, he might end up being good at all of it. Which means I need to be even more careful not to fall.
Chapter 21. Tate.
Mr. King? Tate?
I look up and find half the meeting room staring at me. Damn it. Apologies, I got distracted. Can you run through that again? I try to concentrate on what Rebecca, my head of marketing, is saying. She's providing an update on the VR tours we're designing around the 3D renderings we've received from the architectural team.
We're still working on some of the glitches, but they should be ready for the groundbreaking ceremony.
Thanks, Rebecca. Let me know if any other issues crop up. I scan the marketing team assembled around the conference table. If that's all, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you, everyone. There are the usual murmurs and sounds of chairs pushing back, but I stay seated. Usually I'd be the first one out the door, since I'm the kind of guy who likes to keep moving, but today seems to be the exception. I wait for everyone else to leave. Then, with a glance at my watch, I finally rise from my seat and head out. Cole catches up to me as I stride down the hallway. You want to join me for lunch? He asks. Normally I'd say yes. It's been nice getting to know my brother again after years of almost estrangement. But I've got something more important to do today. Rain check? Of course, he says. Or we can grab a drink after work. Sounds good. I'll let you know when I'm done for the day. He nods and peels off to enter his office, while I continue toward the elevator, giving Jeremy a call as I go. "Where to, Mr. King?" he asks once I'm seated in the back of the town car. I tell him where I want him to take me, and he nods. Once we're headed toward True Brew, I settle back against the leather. I hadn't planned to visit Violet at work, but since she did such a good job at the gala on Saturday, I've decided to see if I can give her some marketing advice for her coffee shop. Although, maybe that's just the excuse I'm giving myself to see her again. I had more fun on Saturday night than I've ever had at an event like that. It was so enjoyable, in fact, that I didn't want it to end. After that kiss, the one that had me wishing we were somewhere else, somewhere without witnesses, I was hard-pressed to think about anything but doing it again. For the rest of the night, I kept her close to me, conscious of the avaricious eyes wandering over her. Considering our relationship isn't real, it shouldn't have bothered me that she was attracting so much attention. In fact, I should have been happy. After all, the whole point of what we're doing is to draw attention to my newfound commitment. What better way than to have a beautiful woman on my arm? But instead, I spent the whole night wishing I could keep her to myself. The urge to take her somewhere private and taste her again was difficult to resist. Luckily, I was able to. I doubt that's a boundary she wants to cross. It's one I shouldn't want to cross either. 20 minutes later, Jeremy pulls over just down the street from the coffee shop. I don't get out right away, giving myself a minute to take in the shop front. What I see makes me smile. Since the last time I visited, Violet has made some changes. There's a chalkboard sign out front that's been decorated with a drawing of a steaming cup of coffee and a couple of pastries. The weekly specials are listed on it, and down at the bottom, there's a social media handle for the shop. I make a mental note to follow the account. In addition, she scraped off the old-fashioned painted shop name and replaced it with a bright, cursive decal that fits her personality far more than the old one. "You want a coffee?" I asked Jeremy. He grins at me over his shoulder. "I wouldn't say no to one." As we approach the shop, I peer through the windows. Even with the changes Violet has made, the place is still mostly empty. Violet and Jared are standing close together in front of the ancient espresso machine. A stab of irritation hits me in the chest when he puts his hand on her back, rubbing it as if he's reassuring her. Has she told him that she has a boyfriend? The bell jangles as I push the door open. Violet looks over her shoulder, surprise flashing across her face when she sees me. It's soon replaced by a smile, but I'm too far away to tell whether it reaches her eyes. "Grab a seat," I tell Jeremy, though I don't look away from Violet. She turns back to Jared, and he looks over at me too, his brows arching. I give him a steely smile, and by the way he drops his hand from where it was still resting on her back, he got the message I was sending with that expression loud and clear. Violet squeezes his arm, then heads toward me. Her honey brown hair is pulled back in a ponytail, her black tank top stretches over the swell of her full breasts, and her tan legs look insanely long underneath her denim cutoffs and apron. She looks fresh-faced and gorgeous, and I don't take my eyes off her, even as I sense Jared's scrutiny. The question of whether he knows about us beats too urgently through my veins. What is she going to do when she gets to me? Will she give me a hug? A kiss? Or will she keep me at arm's length? An unfamiliar and completely irrational jealousy smolders to life inside me, and I have no idea how to control it. Then again, should I have to? To everyone in this room, she's my girlfriend. Why wouldn't I want them to know she's mine? As always, once I make a decision, I don't second-guess myself. The moment she reaches me, and before she has a chance to speak, I curl my fingers around the back of her neck. Yes or no? I ask quietly enough that only she can hear. Her brows draw together, but her confusion is quickly replaced by a flare of understanding. Her throat bobs in a swallow.
Yes, but...
It's all I need to hear before my mouth is hard against hers. Her lips part on a gasp, and I take the opportunity to slide my tongue inside. She tastes sweet, as if she's been sampling the pastries on display, except she's tasted just as delicious each time I've kissed her. It's all her, and fuck if it isn't addictive. If she isn't addictive. She's hesitant at first, but then she turns pliant, her tongue meeting mine. I know what I asked of her, what I'm doing to her, is inappropriate at her place of work. And maybe if there were more customers in the shop, I wouldn't have done it. Or maybe that's a lie, and I wouldn't have cared who was here to witness me kiss her. I pull back before I'm ready, leaving her breathless in front of me, her already plump lips swollen from the pressure of mine. In a daze, she brushes her fingertips over the evidence of how I've claimed her. It isn't until a couple of young women sitting at a small table at the back give us a round of applause that she startles and her eyes refocus. As if suddenly remembering where we are, her gaze darts around the shop. When she makes it to the women, one of them lets out a whoop and shouts,
"Go, girl!"
I don't bother looking back over at Jared. If he didn't know we were together before, he does now. Like a magnet, my hand finds the small of Violet's back as I walk her toward the counter. Jeremy and I felt like a coffee and thought we'd drop in. I remember what she was doing when we came through the door. Is the machine working? She sighs.
It's on its last legs. Thankfully, Jared's incredible at keeping it going. That'll be my first purchase when...
Her eyes find mine, widening slightly, and I know what she stopped herself from saying. She's waiting for the money from our arrangement to come through at the end of the month. She rounds the counter and leans on it, cocking her head, her expression curious and a little wary.
So you felt like a coffee and decided to come all the way out here?
I give her a thorough once-over, not bothering to hide my smirk. I had a very compelling reason. The faintest of pinks stains her cheeks.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Someone told me this place serves the best coffee in New York. The way her shoulders sag a little sends a surge of satisfaction through me. It means she isn't completely immune to me, regardless of how adamantly she'd argue that fact if I called her on it. And that I wouldn't be able to keep my eyes off the woman serving it. That brings a subtle curve to her lips.
Did that person tell you that the woman serving it is taken?
I frown at her, feigning disappointment. That's too bad. I was hoping to ask her out on a date.
Good thing I told you then. Now you can save yourself the embarrassment of asking.
With a chuckle, I tap my knuckles against the countertop between us. Thanks for the warning. It sounds like her boyfriend is quite the catch. It's obvious she's crazy about him. Her responding eye roll is accompanied by a huff of laughter.
More like being driven crazy.
She tilts her head.
Seriously, though, why are you here?
I'm here for coffee, and I'm here to see my girlfriend. She purses her lips and scrutinizes me, her eyes filled with skepticism. Grinning, I lean closer. And I thought we could work through some marketing ideas. Maybe I can offer some insights. Her expression brightens.
I've been thinking of some already. Your conversation with your brothers on Saturday night inspired me.
Oh yeah? Do you have time to go through some of them now?
Absolutely.
She turns to Jared.
Could you make 3 cups of the new blend, please?
When she addresses me again, her eyes are lit with excitement.
I'll grab my notebook and be right over.
I pull out my black Amex, and when she shakes her head, I put it down on the counter and slide it across to her. I'm paying. She puts her finger on it and pushes it back, focus fixed firmly on my face.
No, you're not.
Do you really think it's good business sense to refuse a customer's payment? I shouldn't provoke her, but I can't help it. I enjoy the thrill of it too much to stop. She leans forward, bracing her hands on the countertop and narrowing her eyes.
Do you really think it's a good idea to cross your girlfriend and insult her in her place of business?
Fuck. My dick instantly stands at attention. I don't know whether it's the fire blazing in her eyes or hearing her call herself my girlfriend with that heat in her tone. Either way, I'm rewarding her for it. I snag my credit card from the counter. You're right. This is your business, and if my girlfriend wants to treat me, who am I to argue? She presses her lips together to hide a smile, but the dimple in her cheek gives her away.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
She disappears through the door that leads to the back, and I make my way over to a table near where Jeremy is sitting, though I'm sure to pick one that isn't too close. He raises one dark brow at me, a slow, knowing grin crossing his face. I ignore him. He isn't aware of the contract between Violet and me, so he's probably delighted by the way my supposed girlfriend just bested me. A few minutes later, Violet returns, a notebook clutched in front of her. She settles in opposite me and places it on the table.
You probably didn't notice, but I made some changes to the front of the shop.
I did notice. It looks great. Much more you.
Oh.
She looks adorably flustered.
Thank you. I should have done it before, but it still looked the way I remembered from when Dad was here.
She swallows hard, her eyes misting over.
I think maybe I've been holding back on making changes because I didn't want to lose that.
Without thinking, I cover her hand with mine across the small table. I'm sure your dad would have wanted you to make this place your own. She regards my hand with a little crease between her brows, then glances up at me.
That's what I told myself. It's just hard to make changes sometimes. It's hard to erase those fond memories, you know?
I casually draw my hand back. I don't know. I have very few fond memories of my childhood. Playing with my brothers when I was younger, maybe, before we all drifted apart, or before the truth of our family drove us apart, anyway. I don't need to go into all of that with Violet, though, so I nod, encouraging her to go on.
Anyway, I finally bit the bullet, and it might not look like it right now,
she says, surveying the almost empty space.
but I've already noticed more new customers.
And what other plans are you working on? I like the enthusiasm radiating from her, and even more than that, I like the way we're actually talking to each other normally and not trying to bait one another. As much as I enjoy it when she gets fired up, seeing this side of her, the happy, excited side, warms me in a way I'm not used to. I like that she's opening herself up to me, trusting me with this thing that means so much to her. We're interrupted by Jared, who, after dropping off a coffee for Jeremy, sets 2 steaming cups on our table.
Thank you.
Violet says, smiling up at him. You're welcome. He returns her smile, shoots me an unreadable look, then leaves. I take a sip of the hot beverage and close my eyes in appreciation. Bad coffee is definitely not one of the issues here. It's rich and vibrant, possibly the most perfect cup I've ever tasted. When I open my eyes, she's watching me with a shy smile that I somehow feel in my gut.
Good?
Fucking delicious. Who's your supplier? Maybe I can get them to supply the coffee shop in the foyer of King Plaza. Even better, the one we plan to install in Genesis 1.
An old friend of my dad's. He and his wife spend their days traveling the world and sourcing incredible coffee. It costs extra, but people used to flock here for our range of single origins and specialty blends.
She taps a fingernail on the tabletop.
I just need to remind them of why they used to come and get others interested in giving us a go instead of going to the closest chain.
She sighs.
The cost does eat into the profits. But it's the heart of this place, and I don't want to change that.
Okay. I rest a forearm on the table, pushing away thoughts of her supplier. What ideas have you come up with to increase profits? She flips her notebook open.
I've updated the shop's social media presence and uploaded pictures of the coffees and baked goods. I'm thinking about recording videos to share as well. Maybe some behind-the-scenes stuff, the art of coffee making, that kind of thing.
That's smart. I take another sip of coffee, hit all over again with the bold flavor. Visual content is a great way to engage people. Have you thought about collaborating with local influencers or food bloggers? They could help amplify your reach.
That's a good idea, too.
She catches her lower lip between her teeth as she makes a note. I focus on my coffee once more to keep myself from getting distracted by her mouth, the one I've just tasted, the one I'm already thinking about tasting again. What we're talking about is important to her, so I need to focus.
I worked out a loyalty program, too, with tiered rewards to encourage people to give us a chance.
She continues.
Once they've discovered how good our coffee is, that will be an incentive to return, even if we're a little out of their way.
What incentives are you talking about? A free coffee for every 10 bought is pretty standard. She nods.
It is, but I want to do something different. I've done some market research.
She gives me a little smirk.
Focusing on what our returning customers have in common. What I discovered is that outside of the few remaining regulars who live close by and come here because of their loyalty to Dad's memory, the two types of consistently returning customers are the connoisseurs, who want to check out the coffees we have available on any given day, and the environmentally conscious people who appreciate our sustainable practices. The ones who will go out of their way to support an eco-friendly, community-focused business.
I can't help but smile. She's put some thought into this. What sort of rewards are we talking then?
For the people that have been coming here forever, they get every 10th cup free. But for the connoisseurs, I'm considering hosting early tastings of our new coffees once we receive them, or small events where we introduce seasonal specialties and new menu items to go with them. It can be a reward for our returning customers and generate buzz on social media at the same time.
I rub my chin and nod. The idea definitely has merit. There's nothing people like more than feeling like they have exclusive access. That exclusivity is exactly what the King Group focuses on, so it makes perfect sense to me. That has the potential to be effective. What about the third group you identified? The ones interested in your eco-friendly status? She flips over a page.
Each time we introduce a new coffee, we showcase it with a story about the farmers, the land, the harvesting and production processes, the farm it came from, and the efforts that make their farming sustainable. It will fuel that feeling of connection, from the farmer who grew the beans to the person enjoying the final cup. People love the storytelling aspect. I think it could bring back some of that community feeling my dad cultivated.
I'm impressed. All these ideas have the potential to rapidly gain traction if Violet can get her ideas in front of the right people. Why haven't you implemented any of this already? She obviously has all the right ideas. She just hasn't put them into practice. Violet sits back in her seat and rubs her forehead.
Honestly, I haven't had the time, energy, or money to do anything other than keep my head above water for the last 5 months. The manager we hired after Dad died canceled our arrangement with Jose, our supplier. After I came back, it took me over a month to just convince him to put True Brew back on his books. It was a challenge. Not because he didn't want to help, but because he's a businessman, and he didn't want to risk the arrangement falling through again.
I can understand that, even if I don't like the stress that negotiation must have added to her plate. How did your dad get into this industry anyway? Her brows pull together, and she searches my face a little skeptically, as if she's unsure that I'm really interested in the story. That doubt pricks at me. I am interested in her, and not just because of this arrangement. I want to know what's made her into the woman she is today. I want to know what makes her smile and what makes her sad. For my entire adult life, I've made a habit of avoiding those things with women, but apparently that doesn't apply when it comes to Violet. After a moment, her gaze softens, and a little smile appears on her face.
Before my parents met, Dad traveled a lot, backpacking mostly. He loved discovering new places. On one trip, he spent some time working on a small family-owned coffee plantation in Brazil. He used to say that's when he fell in love with the process of brewing coffee. The sourcing of the beans, roasting them to bring out the flavors, every part of it. When he met Mom and they settled down to start a family, Dad decided he wanted to open a coffee shop. And that's how True Brew was born.
I watch her face, intrigued by the different emotions that play over it as she talks. Happiness, wistfulness, a touch of sadness, just as much as what she's telling me.
He researched and studied the coffee industry and discovered how the little farms, like the one he'd worked at, were getting beaten out by large commercial farms. Typically, the kind that treat their workers unfairly and trash the environment. He wanted to do business with the farmers who cared for their workers and the land, so he tracked down the suppliers that source specifically from those farms. That's how he and Jose met. His dream was to educate customers about the importance of sustainability in coffee production while providing fantastic-tasting coffee. And that's exactly what he did.
He sounds like an amazing man. No wonder Mark and Violet are both so honest and hardworking.
He was.
Her smile is warm, if not a little sad.
He put his heart into True Brew. After Mom died, it was just Dad, Mark, and me. Dad had to juggle a lot, but he always made time for us.
That knowledge is bittersweet. It's hard not to compare her relationship with her parents to mine. I wouldn't wish the pain of losing her mom and dad on her, but I'm glad she knows what it's like to be loved. You were lucky to have each other.
Yeah, we were.
She swallows, her voice turning husky.
Losing Dad, it hit us hard. I wish I'd come back sooner, looked after this place better, but...
She takes a shaky breath and looks down at her notepad. You were only, 23? Taking over a business when you just lost your dad and when you're still struggling to find your feet would have been incredibly difficult. Don't beat yourself up, Violet. You're here now, giving it everything you've got. That's the only thing that matters. She's watching me now, her eyes a little glossy, her expression so open and vulnerable that it almost makes me wish that what we're doing could be real. That I could pull her onto my lap, kiss her, take away the pain. But that's the last thing she'd want from me, so I take another sip of my coffee to wash the urge away.
Thank you, Tate.
She says softly. Then, with a deep breath, she picks up her pen and smiles a little too brightly.
I guess we got a little off track. I know you're busy, so, am I missing anything?
She's right. I'm getting distracted. And I do need to get back to the office. Clearing my throat, I sit a little straighter and force myself to focus on why I came here in the first place. For another few minutes, I rattle off a few ideas I think are worth trying. Things like leveraging social media for teaser campaigns, and adding a Google Maps interior view of the shop to attract people who are searching for a new place to visit. Violet notes my suggestions while I take my last sip of coffee. As I put my cup down, I catch sight of Jared. He's at the counter, laughing with a customer as he takes their order. I do need to go, but I'm strangely reluctant to leave. When I do, Violet will be here all alone with her too handsy barista. Not that it should matter. According to our agreement, neither of us can engage in other relationships while we're together. And on top of that, I don't see any interest in her eyes when she looks at him. Even so, I don't like the idea that while she's here, he's the one helping her run the place. He's her shoulder to lean on. For the first time in my life, I consider what it would be like if I were someone's shoulder to lean on. What would it be like if I were Violet?
Chapter 22. Violet. You kissed him again? Anna gasps. I've got my phone pressed to my ear and I'm hustling down the street toward True Brew. I should be there already. Jared has probably started opening procedures, but I should be there as well. I don't like being late under any circumstance, and now that we're getting a little more traction during the morning rush, I hate the idea of losing customers because I couldn't get my ass in gear this morning. I blame that damn kiss for all my tossing and turning. We have to make it believable. I repeat what I told her last time. And a full-on make-out session in the middle of your coffee shop is what's going to sell it? An excited little shiver darts up my spine at the memory, but I ignore my body's misguided reaction. I didn't know it would turn out that way. But you didn't stop him? I clear my throat. I may have gotten a bit carried away. Anna giggles. That good, huh? I give her a non-committal hum, hoping she won't call me on it. I shouldn't be losing sleep over Tate. Then again, the Tate I imagined I'd be fake dating isn't the Tate who keeps showing up. Yes, he can still be arrogant, and that smirk of his still gets under my skin. But then there are the other things, like his kindness and his sincere words that make my heart flutter. And that kiss yesterday. God, I shouldn't have let him kiss me in the middle of True Brew like that. But the way he was looking at me, like he wanted me, like he wanted to claim me, made it impossible to keep my wits about me. And damn it, in that moment, I'd wanted him to claim me too. I can't get into that with Anna right now, though. I have to focus on work. I'm almost at the shop, I say. There's an unfamiliar delivery van parked on the loading zone in front of the shop. The sight stops me in my tracks. Jared's there, like I knew he would be, and he's talking to the delivery man, gesturing broadly. I have to go, I tell Anna. I'll call you later. After we hang up, I approach the shop. What's going on? Both men turn to me.
Are you Violet Sinclair?
The delivery man asks. Yes?
I have a delivery for you.
He holds out a clipboard.
Just need you to sign here.
I shoot Jared a look, but he just shrugs. After I've signed, the man rounds the back of the truck and returns with a large box on a trolley. As he comes closer, the name on the box becomes visible, sending a jolt through me. Did you order a new espresso machine? I asked Jared. Shit. We need it. But a decision like that isn't one he has the authority to make. And there's no way we can afford it.
Nope. You didn't?
No.
In here?
The delivery man makes his way to the shop door. With a nod, I pull the unlocked door open for him, then follow him in. He unloads the box behind the counter, then dusts his hands on his pants.
Would you like me to install it for you?
Give me a minute, please. Rubbing at my forehead, I inspect the box and pull it open. Sure enough, there's a brand new top-of-the-line commercial espresso machine inside. I only know one person who would do something this outrageous. But why? My first payment from him is set to hit at the end of the month, and with it I could have bought this myself. Not this one, of course, because I've priced the machines more than once, and this particular one must have cost at least $15,000. I turn back to the delivery guy. I'm sorry, can you wait just a little longer? When he nods, I take a few steps away and dial Tate's number. He answers on the second ring.
What a pleasant surprise.
Despite his words, he doesn't sound surprised to hear from me at all. Did you buy a new espresso machine for the shop?
I did.
I lower my voice and move farther away from Jared and the delivery person. Why? You didn't need to. You're already paying me.
You were having problems with your old one, and I didn't want you to have to wait. This way Jared won't have to fix the machine all the time.
I frown, surprised he even remembers Jared's name, let alone that he's always fixing it. I appreciate the gesture, Tate, but...
It's not a gesture. It's a gift. One I'm giving to my fake girlfriend for being so believable. Consider it a bonus.
I'll pay you back when the first installment comes through.
You're not paying me back. And I instructed the company to not accept a return, so if you don't want it, then you'll have to find some way of getting rid of it yourself.
His tone is pure satisfaction now. I roll my eyes and huff out a breath, though I'm not as annoyed as I should be. I might even be touched that he cares enough about my business to help me out. Even if a $15,000 espresso machine is probably overkill for my little coffee shop. Well, thank you. Jared and I appreciate it. The noise he makes in response almost sounds like a growl.
Let me make this clear, Violet. I don't care if Jared appreciates it. I only care if you appreciate it.
Though they shouldn't, those words elicit a warm flutter in my chest, one that tells me I'm taking this comment in a way I probably shouldn't. Okay, I appreciate it, I say softly.
Good.
His voice drops.
You can show me just how much you appreciate it on Friday night.
A sudden vision hits me, and my breath falters. It's a vision where Tate makes me show my appreciation in ways that I should definitely take offense to, but according to my body's reaction to what I'm imagining, I apparently do not. Based on the low laugh that comes through the phone, my silence must be telling.
While there are all sorts of enjoyable ways you could thank me, all I'm asking is for you to join me for dinner at Trio's on Friday night.
I screw my face up. Apparently he can read me like an open book, even over the phone. I knew that's what you meant.
Of course you did. So, are you available?
Desperate to recover my mental and emotional footing, I make my voice as nonchalant as possible. I'll have to check my calendar.
Violet?
Oh, wow. The grit in his voice when he says my name sends an involuntary quiver through me. Thank God he's not here to see it. Fine, yes, I suppose it makes sense to be seen in more intimate settings as well as big events to make our relationship believable.
Exactly,
he says smoothly. Then yes, I'm available. When we end the call, I turn back to Jared and the delivery man. Thank you for waiting, and yes, it'd be great if you could install it. He nods and sets to work while Jared joins me, a frown on his face.
Did you find out where it came from?
It was Tate. Behind Jared, the delivery man quickly and efficiently adds the machine to the existing plumbing. Jared's brows arch.
Your new boyfriend sure knows how to make a splash.
He's just trying to help. He noticed that we were having trouble with the machine the other day, and he didn't want us to have to worry about fixing it all the time.
I bet that's what he was worried about.
Jared murmurs. I turn to him. What do you mean? He shakes his head, a smile flickering at the corners of his lips.
Nothing, but since we now have a shiny new espresso machine, let's practice using it by making ourselves a pre-rush coffee.
I smile. He's being optimistic, considering the rush isn't all that much of a rush. Not yet, anyway. But it will be soon. I know it. Chapter 23. Violet. Anna plops down on my bed with a sigh. I'm feeling a tad bit jealous right now. I've wanted to have dinner at Trio's for ages. Ducking my head, I smooth the satiny material of my red dress down over my hips. Does this look okay? You look fabulous. You'll have Tate tripping over his own tongue. I laugh, but my heart sinks a little. Believe me, with the women Tate has been with, the only thing he'll be tripping over while in my presence is his limp dick. Pfft. She swats at me from where she's curled up on the mattress. Tate would have to be blind not to see how gorgeous you are. Gingerly, I bend down and give her a hug, careful of the expensive dress I've just slipped into. What would I do without you? You wouldn't be going out to Trio's tonight, that's for sure. A laugh bubbles out of me. You're taking credit for all of this? She arches a brow. Of course. If I hadn't invited you to Onyx, none of this would have happened. Her smirk turns into a genuine smile. But seriously, I'm happy for you, Vi. You deserve to be spoiled a little. Thanks. I'm looking forward to it. Even though your date is your least favorite billionaire? Is he my least favorite? When Tate came to see me at True Brew, he was genuinely interested in the shop and why it's so special to me. Then he went and bought me an espresso machine. Just the memory of how well he's treated me since we started this fake relationship has a lick of warmth spreading through me. Tate isn't the worst company. Wow, Anna's brows jumped to her hairline. That's praise I never thought I'd hear from you. What happened to Tate King is such a man-whore? She parrots back the words I may or may not have said to her after that second night at Onyx. Well, he's still a man-whore. But I guess maybe there's more to him than just that. So you're saying that maybe your opinion is a bit outdated? I screw up my face. But I can't lie. Maybe I've held on to my bad first impression of him for too long. It's a distinct possibility. Her straight face is belied by the amusement in her voice. I pick a cushion up off my bed and throw it at her. She ducks, laughing as it misses her. Then she checks her watch and hops off the bed. Okay, I better go. Loverboy is going to be here soon. Fake Loverboy, I correct her, even if the nervous anticipation dancing in my stomach doesn't feel all that fake. I see her out, then, to make this evening feel more like the business transaction it is, I grab my purse and my keys and leave my apartment. With the way my pulse races every time I think of him lately, meeting Tate downstairs feels safer. I stand at the bottom of my apartment block steps and pull my phone out to scroll while I wait. I've just opened True Brew's Instagram account when Tate's big black town car pulls up. I drop my phone into my clutch and head toward it. Tate is out of the car before Jeremy has even rounded the hood. He stalks toward me.
Why are you waiting on the street?
I blink at him. I didn't want you to have to come upstairs. He threads his fingers through mine, sending a tiny electric shock up my arm.
I have no problem coming to your door, Violet. It's dark out, and this isn't the safest neighborhood.
Hands still tight around mine, he leads me toward the car. The whole way there, I fight the warmth spreading through me. The neighborhood really is a relatively safe one, but even so, that he cares about my safety when there's nothing in our agreement that says he has to is way too endearing. By now, Jeremy is holding the door open for us.
Evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Jeremy. I barely have a chance to smile at him before Tate bundles me inside. I slide over and he follows me in. As Jeremy pulls the car into traffic, Tate watches me with enigmatic eyes that drop to take me in. A smile curls his lips.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. Those butterflies are back. I mentally tell them to go away. This is Tate. Being charming comes naturally to him. It doesn't mean anything. Even so, I'm conscious of his proximity the whole ride to the restaurant. My attempt at small talk is way more stilted than it should be, and Tate's amused gaze tells me he knows why. I'm pretty sure he enjoys knowing he disconcerts me. When we pull up outside Trio's, there's a line of people waiting to get into the uber-exclusive restaurant. How did you get a reservation last minute? I ask him.
I'm a silent investor. It gives me some privileges.
So you invest in more than just sex clubs? He lets out an easy laugh.
Only one sex club, but I have multiple restaurants.
Which do you visit more? The question is out before I think it through. I sound like I'm interrogating him, like I'm more interested in his sexual habits than I should be, considering I don't have any romantic interest in him. Since I can't take the words back, I smooth my expression, hoping that I come across as mildly curious and nothing more. No such luck. The wicked grin that grows on his face has my cheeks flaming.
Violet, if you want to know how often I experience what you and I did together at the club, you just have to ask.
That's not what I...
Never.
My mouth snaps shut and I tilt my head. You've never been with someone at the club? That doesn't seem likely. A muscle pulses in his jaw.
I've been with women at the club, not as often as you probably think, and not recently. Except for you.
I digest that information, caught between confusion and relief. Then what do you mean, never?
The club has always been an easy way to scratch an itch when I don't want to deal with being recognized. That's not what it was about when I was with you. I had no intention of being with anyone that night. I was there strictly for business, but when I saw you come in, I couldn't resist.
His eyes darken, his voice lowering, becoming rougher as he continues.
I wanted to know about you, why you were there, how I could help you relax, what I could do to make you mine for the night. That's never happened before.
My heart beats wildly. It pounds so hard against my ribs, I'm sure he can hear it. Why do his words affect me so intensely? Part of me wants to write off his confession as a line he'd give to anyone, but I can't. What reason does he have to lie? And if he's lying, then why is he watching me with such an unwavering intensity? Tate's familiar smile, the one I've always considered cocky but am beginning to realize screams of justified self-confidence, is slow and knowing. He sees exactly what he's doing to me. Before I can unscramble my brain and come up with a coherent response, Jeremy opens my door for me. Outside the car, the patrons in line are staring and murmuring, probably wondering if a celebrity will appear. While I wait for Tate to join me, I shuffle my feet and keep my face averted. Somehow this moment is worse than when the photographers were lined up along the red carpet at the gala. As if the scrutiny of my peers is more meaningful than the impartial camera lens. When Tate takes his place by my side, his two perceptive eyes sweep over me, then move to the line of hopefuls waiting to get a seat in the restaurant. He cups my jaw, and his seductive lips curve up.
They're staring at you because you look stunning. Hold your head up, butterfly. Show them what you're made of.
I lick my lips and nod, suddenly fixated on his proximity rather than the people watching. He brushes a thumb over my bottom lip, following the path my tongue just took. For a moment, I struggled to draw in oxygen, and I'm hit with a new worry. Will I have to kiss him again tonight? The possibility makes my knees wobble. When he clasps my hand, I can't help but examine where we're connected. My hand looks so small wrapped in his, and I like the sensation far too much. I must be starved of affection from a man if such a simple gesture feels this good. Or maybe it's the strange sense of security that winds its way through my chest at his touch. Something I'm beginning to realize I haven't felt in far too long. It was completely missing in my relationship with Eric. Just another warning sign I missed. Side by side, we make our way into the lavish restaurant. The kitchen is open to the dining area, allowing patrons to view chefs skillfully preparing gourmet dishes. A staircase at the far end leads up to the attached bar that has its own street-facing entrance to allow people to enter without passing through the restaurant. A pretty hostess meets us, a big smile on her face. "Mr. King, we're so glad to see you back here again." She leads us to a booth at the back. The table is covered in a white tablecloth, and flickering candles add to the already warm atmosphere. Tate finally lets go of my hand so I can slide in. But instead of settling into the opposite seat, he slides in right beside me.
Chapter 24. Tate. Confusion flashes across Violet's face.
"What are you doing?"
I sit close, draping my arm along the back of the booth so that my sleeve brushes her bare shoulders. People come here to see as well as be seen. And what I want them to see is that I'm so crazy about my girlfriend that I can't handle leaving any space between us. She rolls her eyes and lets out a disbelieving laugh, but she also doesn't move away, so I take it as a victory. A waiter appears next to the table and hands us menus. "Can I offer you a drink before ordering?" I look at Violet. "Do you have a preference, or would you like me to choose a bottle?"
"You can order."
"A bottle of Charme Chambertin Grand Cru, please," I say to the waiter. His face lights up. "Very good, sir. I'll be back shortly to take your order." Violet is studying the menu, but since I could list each item on it without looking, I study her instead. She looks beautiful, Her hair is loose around her shoulders, which are bare except for the thin red straps of her dress, the one that clings to her body in a way that makes me want to peel it off her so I can run my hands along the bare curves beneath. With her eyes cast down, her long lashes almost brush her cheekbones, and those full pink lips of hers, they look as soft as they've felt under mine every time I've kissed her. Before I can stop the direction of my thoughts, I'm imagining how they'd feel wrapped around my dick. Fuck. The organ in question swells and jerks as more imagined situations and sensations flare to life in my mind. The heat of her mouth on me, the silken slide of her tongue, her body writhing under me, damp with sweat after I've teased her for hours, the way she'd clench around my cock when I finally let her come. Jesus. When those clear blue eyes meet mine, I do my best to force the fantasies out of my head.
There aren't any prices?
She asks. My voice when I speak is rough. The mental imagery still has me in a stranglehold. How can patrons show how much money doesn't mean to them if they're worried about prices? She lets out a laugh.
That's ridiculous. What about the people who come here who aren't millionaires like you?
Billionaires, I correct her automatically. She looks at me blankly for a second before scrunching up her nose.
When you get to a certain point, surely the extra zero doesn't make that much difference.
Sometimes that extra zero is what keeps you on top. Her head tilts.
On top of what?
The people who enjoy looking down on others. With a furrowed brow, she gives a little shake of her head.
Has anyone ever looked down on you way up there where you're sitting?
I let out a wry chuckle. In my world, people will use any chink in your armor as an excuse to prove they're better than you. It's best not to give them that opportunity. She searches my gaze, a little line still etched between her brows. But there's concern in her expression now, not disbelief. The candlelight reflecting in her eyes makes her irises look like twin blue flames.
That sounds exhausting,
She says softly. That simple observation makes my chest draw tight. Sometimes you have to step away from something to realize just how exhausting it is. And being here with her is exactly like that. A break from putting on a mask it feels like I've been wearing for far too long. She hesitates for a moment, then touches my arm.
Do you get a chance to step away from it?
My gaze drifts slowly over her face, lingering a moment too long on that plush mouth of hers. Sometimes. There's a subtle shift in the air between us, and the slender column of her throat moves in a swallow. But when I don't expand on what I said, she rolls her lower lip between her teeth, then nods.
I know what you mean. I've spent so long concentrating on nothing but keeping True Brew going. I didn't realize how all-consuming it's been until now.
I raise my brows. Now?
Sitting down and enjoying a meal with an with a man.
My slow smile has her delicate jaw tightening, but she manages to keep the rest of her expression even. Rather than teasing her about her slip-up, I move the hand still resting behind her to the back of her neck and stroke lazy circles over her skin with my thumb. I'm enjoying it too. My attention drops to her lips again for just a second. Far more than I ever anticipated. Sparks flare in her eyes and she stiffens, apparently taking my words as an insult.
You were the one who came to me.
I shake my head, still smiling. I don't mean you. I mean pretending to be in love. Those pretty eyes of hers soften, along with her body. I'm still stroking the warm skin of her neck, and consciously or not, she allows herself to lean back into it slightly, as if she's enjoying my touch as much as I'm enjoying touching her.
Is that what we're doing?
She asks. I cock a brow and query.
Pretending to be in love? We're pretending to date, but I didn't know we were pretending to be in love.
I sift my fingers through her hair and a tiny shiver works its way through her. Are you worried your acting skills aren't up to the job? The softness in her eyes disappears, and they narrow in that look of irritation I'm so familiar with.
You should probably be more concerned about your own acting skills. Have you ever even been in a relationship?
I suppress a grin, but before I can reply, she shakes her head, her full lips tilting down.
I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
I go back to stroking her neck. It feels a little too good under my fingertips to want to stop. Since when has that stopped you? Her brows pull together, and she gnaws on her lower lip, but the waiter appears next to us before she can tell me what's obviously bothering her. He cradles a bottle of wine in his hands, presenting it to me. Once I've given him a nod of approval, he expertly uncorks the bottle and pours a small amount into my glass. With my spare hand, I pick it up and take a sip. Perfect, thank you. With a polite smile, he fills both glasses, then sets the bottle on the table. Are you ready to order now, or would you like some more time? Violet squeaks and picks up her menu again. She barely had a chance to look at it before I distracted her. With her lip caught between her teeth, she scans the page, no doubt searching for what she hopes is the least expensive option. Can you give us a few more minutes? I ask the waiter. When he's gone, I resume the small circles I've been rubbing on Violet's neck, but will myself not to be distracted by my growing obsession with touching her. Butterfly, I say softly. Get whatever you want. I promise I can afford anything on that menu. She arches a brow at me.
Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should have to. You're already paying me to be here. Not to mention buying me gifts you absolutely don't have to.
Turns out I quite like buying my girlfriend gifts. I'd like to buy you a meal you'll remember. Confusion is written all over her face.
Why?
Does she really not understand that I like spending time with her? That I want to make the experience special? So that maybe after this agreement is over, when you're happily married to some lucky guy, you'll think back to this night with me. Even if it's just because the meal was the best you've ever had. Violet stares at me, and once again, something shimmers in the air between us. Something fragile but almost tangible. A connection that tugs at my chest, that urges me to close the distance between us. She wets her lips, then looks down at the menu. With a soft exhale, she closes it and smiles up at me.
Okay. I'll have the house-made black truffle ravioli with the brown butter and sage sauce.
Good choice.
And Tate.
She places her hand on my thigh.
Thank you. I doubt I'll forget this night. Or any of the other things you've done for me and True Brew.
She takes a deep breath.
I'm sorry I wasn't very nice to you when you and Mark were in college.
Sincerity shines from her eyes. Is that what's been worrying her? Don't apologize for that, I say. I didn't exactly put my best foot forward when we met, and after that first visit, it might have even been on purpose.
Are you saying you were deliberately provoking me?
She's trying to fight a smile, but she's doing a terrible job of it. I laugh. I enjoyed seeing that fire in your eyes when you would snap at me. She sits back in her chair and shakes her head.
Here I was, thinking I was bringing you down a couple of notches, and all the while you were having fun.
More fun than I would have ever admitted to you, or your brother. She cocks her head in question. Before she can voice it, though, the waiter is back. Violet watches me through her lashes the whole time he's there. Certain she'll ask why I didn't want to admit anything to her brother, I remain silent after he takes our order and leaves, waiting her out. But she doesn't ask, and for an instant, a sensation that almost feels like disappointment wells up inside me. It's gone a moment later, when she turns our conversation to something a little less personal. The food is incredible, as expected. Violet and I try one another's dishes. The black truffle ravioli for her, of course, and the Chilean sea bass for me. The act of sharing food is surprisingly intimate. As Violet mentioned at the gala last weekend, I don't exactly make a habit of wining and dining women. This is a different experience for me, but sharing a meal with her, listening to her moan as she enjoys the flavors, then watching a smile light up her face as she answers my questions about her life and True Brew, has me captivated. I'm not sure if she notices the way I steer her away from questions about my family. If she does, she's gracious enough not to let on. We've mostly kept the conversation light, but when she mentions her ex-boyfriend Eric in passing and her shoulders tense, I probe for more information. How long ago did the two of you break up? She hesitates, then lets out a sigh.
Just over a year ago.
Can I ask what happened? You mentioned at Onyx it was a rough breakup. Her wide eyes shoot up to mine. Is it because I mentioned that night at the club? Or is it because I'm asking about her relationship? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. She studies me again, her mouth twisting a little. I expect her to brush me off, but maybe because the wine we're drinking is quite strong, or because she's finally relaxing around me, she doesn't.
No. It's okay.
She takes a sip from her glass.
We met at a community event in Augusta. I was hosting an information booth for the nonprofit I was working for, and Eric was there with his uncle's political campaign.
His uncle's in politics? She nods.
Yes, Senator Rollins. Eric is his fundraising manager. Or he was when we were dating, anyway. Though he was angling to be the finance manager. I guess he might have worked his way into that position by now.
Well, that answers the question about whether they're still in touch. I didn't think so, but now I know. Violet gives her head a little shake, as if she's gotten distracted.
Anyway, he was good-looking and charming. And when he came past our information booth and started flirting, I was flattered. So when he asked me out, I said yes.
I'm already irritated by this guy. The thought of Violet being so impressed by him that she wanted to date him when she was so reluctant to even give me the time of day has an unfamiliar emotion eating at me.
We dated for a couple of months.
She continues, her thumb rubbing over the rim of her wine glass as she speaks.
But I realized something just didn't feel right. I'd been debating breaking it off. But then...
Her voice catches, and she blinks a couple of times.
Then Dad died.
I brush tendrils of hair away from her face and stroke my thumb over her cheek. You okay, Butterfly? For a heartbeat, her lashes flutter shut, and she leans into my touch. That small act triggers a tightness in my chest.
I just miss him.
She says.
And I hate that I was so far away when he died.
I slide my hand under the silky fall of her hair and cup the back of her neck, squeezing lightly until her eyes, glossy with unshed tears, meet mine. I saw you and your dad together when you came to Mark's graduation, and it was obvious how close you were, how much you loved him. That knowledge would have been with him at the end, even if you couldn't be. I hold her gaze until she gives me a nod, then I lean back, waiting for her to continue.
When I got back after the funeral, I was a mess.
Her laugh doesn't hold much humor.
Dad had always been my anchor. Him and Mark. I felt untethered. I should have moved back home to be with Mark, but I struggled with the idea of being here when Dad wasn't. Being back in Maine didn't feel right either. Everything felt wrong, including Eric. I tried to break it off with him, but he refused to accept it. He kept coming around, bringing me gifts, ordering in food on days when I'd barely eaten. On the surface, he became the perfect doting boyfriend. But in hindsight, he was ignoring my wishes and already trying to control me. I fell for the act, though. I ignored that little niggling voice of doubt because it was better than feeling so alone.
She inhales shakily. There's a pressure growing behind my ribs as she talks, and I flex my hands to loosen them, only realizing then that they've been clenched. It's not always easy to see past the masks people show us. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes, as if she doesn't quite believe me. Tell me what he did, Violet.
It started small. So small I didn't notice. Little criticisms. The shade of lipstick I was wearing was too bright, or my dress didn't fit quite right. All said in a way that made it sound like he was just trying to help me. and I listened.
She shakes her head.
Every time I did something he didn't like, he'd let me know in subtle ways that I'd let him down. When we went out, he'd get jealous, accuse me of flirting with any single man who spoke to me. And instead of realizing what was going on and leaving him, I just tried harder to appease him. And if I did question his reactions, he'd twist it all around, make me doubt my own mind.
She glances at me before quickly looking away.
It makes me feel so stupid when I say it out loud.
Hey, I turn her chin, so she's forced to meet my gaze. You aren't stupid. You were alone and grieving, and he took advantage of that. He caught you when you were vulnerable and knew exactly what to say to make you believe he was on your side, so you'd trust him. But you figured him out. That's why you're here now, working hard, bringing True Brew back to life. You walked away from him. Her eyes close as she lets out a sigh.
Yes, but only after I found him balls deep in one of his interns.
The laugh that escapes her is tinged with bitterness.
He used to accuse me of flirting with just about every man who looked in my direction, but he was the one screwing around on me. And considering all his interns were young and pretty, I'm sure she wasn't the only one.
Anger simmers hot beneath the surface of my skin. I want to track this Eric asshole down and punish him for not treating her the way she deserves to be treated, for making her doubt herself. What did he do when you ended it? I ask. From what she's revealed about him, I can't imagine he let her go easily once he sank his claws into her. I've met plenty of people like him in the business world and in my social circle. Narcissistic manipulators who don't care about anyone but themselves.
He called, but I didn't answer, so he left messages. First he apologized and asked for another chance, then he started blaming me. He told me it was my fault that he cheated. That's when I blocked.
Wait, I growl. He blamed you? Her gaze darts to mine, and she pinches her bottom lip between her teeth.
He said he wouldn't have had to turn to someone else if I'd been able to satisfy him.
My shoulders tense with the need to take some kind of physical action, to find a way to hurt this guy the way he hurt her. I have to pull in a deep breath to calm myself down. Then I cup her cheek so she can't look away. Tell me you know that isn't true, Violet. Tell me you know he was just trying to cover up his own inadequacies. She stares up at me, eyes shadowed by residual hurt, and lets out a ragged breath.
I do. I do know that. I may have let him get in my head for a while, but I got past it. With Anna's help, of course.
She gives me a lopsided smile. It's not enough, though. I need to make sure. Just the small taste I got of you at Onyx had me wanting so much more. There's no way being with you wouldn't satisfy any man.
Tate.
She whispers. I realize my mistake. She doesn't want me talking about that night. She doesn't want to remember what I did to her, regardless of how much she enjoyed it. It makes sense to me now why she was there, what she was looking for, consciously or not. I'm glad I was able to give that to her, even if she wishes it had been someone else. Just that thought alone, of another man being the one to give her what she needed, has my jaw clenching. I force myself to let her go. There's something I know about myself now that I didn't before. I don't like seeing those shadows in Violet's pretty blue eyes. I like when they're flashing fire at me. I like when they're shining with happiness, or when they're hazy with arousal. I don't fucking like when they're filled with pain. I think I would do a lot to make sure I don't see them that way again. Violet's cheeks are flushed, and she takes a gulp of wine.
Wow,
She says.
Sorry, that was probably way more than you wanted to hear.
She lets out a little laugh.
Probably not what you were planning to talk about when you invited me to dinner.
I asked because I wanted to know. I'm just glad you felt like you could tell me. She hesitates and her eyebrows knit together. What? I ask.
Other than Anna, you're the only person I've told.
I still as I take in what that means. Mark mentioned that Violet withdrew after their dad's death. I'd forgotten his comment about not knowing the reason behind it. Yet she trusted me enough to share something so personal. That knowledge steals the oxygen from my lungs, and I have to siphon in a slow breath to replace it. She gives me a flustered smile, then pushes her plate away.
I'm so full,
She says, changing the subject.
That was delicious, though. Thank you.
The waiter returns just then to take our plates and ask if we want dessert.
I couldn't.
Violet says.
But if you want to, please go ahead.
I shake my head, but I'm not ready for the night to be over. How about we go upstairs for a drink? She glances over at the stairway to the bar, then back to me. At first, I'm certain she'll shut me down, but instead, she holds my gaze and nods.
I'd love to. Chapter 25. Violet. As I wait for Tate to pay for our meal, I'm all over my decision to tell him about Eric. What is it about this man that has me dropping my walls so easily? He's so different from what I expected, from what he was like when he was in college. Could I have misjudged him even back then? The memory of that first morning hits me. The first time I ever laid eyes on him, he was sauntering out of his bedroom in just a pair of boxer briefs, with 2 women following him. His hair was tousled from what I could only assume was 2 sets of fingers running through it, and there were literal scratch marks on his chest. His eyes widened when he saw me at the breakfast bar, and then he quickly sent the women packing, despite their obvious desire to stay. I pushed the memory away. What Tate chose to do back then, probably still chooses to do, is up to him. It doesn't make him a bad person, and the knowledge that I treated him as if he were because of his personal choices has guilt weighing heavily on my chest. Tate having consensual sex with anyone he wants to is absolutely none of my business. I try to ignore the sharp twinge of jealousy behind my ribs. It's only because he's pretending to be mine at the moment that I don't want to think about him with other women. After signing the bill, Tate slides out of the booth and I follow. As always, he puts his hand on my back to guide me between tables. On our way up the stairs, he walks behind me, and I'm suddenly self-conscious. Is he staring at my ass? Is he not staring at my ass? Which one would I prefer? No, I shut down that train of thought. It's better if I don't know the answer to that question. The bar is crowded and far louder than the restaurant below. As Tate leads me forward, I swear people make way for him, as if they know he is one of the most powerful men here. Or maybe it's just my imagination. Though the way women's heads turn as we pass is definitely not my imagination. We reach the bar and, miraculously, considering how many people are clustered around it, a bartender immediately appears, ready to take our drink order. Tate raises a brow at me, silently signaling for me to go first. I'll have a Cosmo. His eyes drop to my mouth. Is he remembering the first time we kissed the way I suddenly am? Is he imagining the taste of vodka and cranberry juice on my lips at the club that night? He nods at the bartender.
A Cosmo and scotch on the rocks, thanks.
As the bartender sets about making our drinks, Tate turns to face me. The crowd on either side is pressing close, and when someone jostles me from behind, Tate slides his arm around my waist and tugs me in until I'm pressed against the hard wall of his chest. The sensation has crazy impulses scattering through my head. As fervently as I've willed myself to forget, the feel of him against me and the memory of what he did to me at Onyx has a throb centering low in my abdomen. It might be the wine we had with dinner, but the thought of him touching me, of doing more than touching me, has invaded my thoughts tonight. Especially now when he's standing so close, I can smell the fresh masculine scent emanating from him. Maybe my expression gives me away, or the way I keep staring at that little triangle of tanned skin at the base of his throat where his top button is undone, because he dips his head closer to mine.
What's going on in that pretty head of yours?
My stomach sinks. There's no way I can admit that after only 2 official dates, I'm edging closer to succumbing to his charm. It's the wine. It has to be. Luckily, the bartender chooses that moment to place our drinks on the bar. Quickly, I pick mine up and take a long sip to avoid the question. When I work up the nerve to peek up at Tate, the familiar amused glint in his eyes makes it clear my actions answered for me. I rack my brain for a safe topic that will douse the heated tension simmering between us. How are sales for Genesis 1 going? The corners of his lips turn up, but he answers.
They're going well, past our initial projections, so I'd consider it a success so far.
I nod a little too enthusiastically. That's good. Is it because of your marketing? He tilts his head and watches me, his gaze moving lazily over my face.
The sustainable features are a big draw. The luxury market in New York is always hungry for innovation. We're interested in whether we can replicate the same interest in other markets.
He raises his glass to his lips, his throat working in a way that's far too sexy as he swallows. I must be watching a little too closely because he lets out a low laugh.
Are our sales of Genesis 1 really what you're thinking about right now? Or do you have something else on your mind?
I wet my lips because, God, every word out of his mouth only makes mine go.
Tate, my man!
A loud voice close by has me almost jumping out of my skin.
Fancy seeing you here.
When the owner of the voice appears beside us, Tate lowers his hand casually and turns to the intruder, wearing a smile that would have a more observant man backing away in a hurry.
Aaron, what a pleasant surprise.
His icy tone contradicts the sentiment. The man's beady eyes run over me, snagging on my cleavage, and he licks his lips. Then he turns his attention to Tate.
We're here celebrating a win. We took over Paladine Construction today.
From the readiness of his cheeks and his overly bright eyes, it's obvious that he's been celebrating a little too enthusiastically.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Aaron puffs his chest out, looking smug.
We wanted to keep it under the radar until it was done. I guess congratulations are in order then.
Tate says, looking perfectly composed, even as tension radiates off him.
Indeed.
Aaron grins.
Maybe I can buy you a drink later.
Tate's expression is less than inviting.
Maybe.
When Aaron moves on, Tate leans close to me again, but the heat from a few minutes ago has cooled.
I need to make a quick call. Do you want to come with me or stay here?
Oh, I'm still disoriented from the moment we shared before Aaron interrupted, so it takes me several seconds to formulate a response. Do you want to leave, or... He ghosts his fingers down my arm, leaving sparks in his wake.
I'm not sure I'm done with you yet.
My heart accelerates again, pounding out a staccato rhythm against my breastbone. If you're not going to be long, I'll just stay here. He nods and half turns so he can address the bartender.
Another Cosmo for the lady, please.
He leans closer, filling the space around me with his scent as his jaw brushes my cheek.
I'll be back, Butterfly.
The bartender pours the drink in front of me, and when he slides it across the bar, I smile my thanks and pick it up. As I take a slow sip, I survey the crowded bar. Halfway through, I unintentionally catch the eye of the man who was just talking to Tate. I look away quickly, but a moment later he's back at my side as if taking that second of eye contact as an invitation to chat.
Tate gone to find out if I'm telling the truth?
He asks, flashing me an obnoxious smirk. I shift uncomfortably and play dumb. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he said he'll be back soon.
You know...
He licks his already wet lips in a way that sends a tendril of disgust through me.
I've always admired Tate's taste in women. And you're no exception, beautiful.
He presses forward as he says it, and I step back, avoiding contact. Clutching my drink close to my chest, I scan our surroundings in hopes that Tate is on his way back, suddenly wishing I'd gone with him instead of staying here on my own. Aaron edges even closer, his breath hot on my skin.
I may not be a billionaire,
He says, that last word almost a sneer.
but I bet my dick can give you just as good a ride as his. When he's done with you, why don't you take it for a test drive?
He clamps a hand down on my waist and squeezes. I leap away from him with a shudder. Don't touch me! His eyes go wide then, and he takes a step back.
Chapter 26. Tate. I finished the call to Roman after giving him the information Aaron just foolishly boasted about. Several of Paladine Construction's investors have been wary of a takeover. Now that we know what's happened, Roman will want to get on the phone to them ASAP. See if they want to invest in a larger and more stable option instead. Before I make my way back to Violet, I take a moment to clear my head. I let myself get too carried away with her tonight. With her soft body pressed against mine, and her peaches and cream scent filling my senses, it's been too easy to forget what this is and what I promised Mark, that I'd take care of his sister. I'm pretty sure taking care of her doesn't include offering to make her come again. I'll go back. We'll have one more drink, and then I'll take her home. I'm returning through the crowd to the bar when that thought flies out of my head. That asshole Aaron is back at the spot where I left Violet. I don't like the slimy expression on his face, but the trepidation and disgust on hers have me speeding up and shouldering people out of the way. A heartbeat before I make it to them, Violet jumps back, holding her drink in front of her with both hands, as if it will shield her from that piece of shit. Anger blazes through me. In 2 strides, I'm there. Get your hands off her, I bark. His eyes go wide, but he quickly tries to hide his shock by laughing. Come on, Tate. No need to be greedy. We both know she'll be warming someone else's bed tomorrow. It might as well be mine. He leers at her again, his tongue slicking out to wet his lips. Maybe we could tag team her. When he reaches out as if to touch her again, that protective urge I felt before rips through me. He thinks he has a right to lay a hand on her, that I'll give her up tomorrow and he can make a move. He's wrong, and I'll make sure he gets that through his head. I grip his wrist so hard he lets out a pained grunt. Touch her again, and I'll break your arm. I let him go with a shove that sends him stumbling back. He cradles his wrist, eyes wide, then lets out an incredulous laugh. You can't be serious. I know you, Tate. Everyone knows you. There's no way she's more than a one-night good time. I take a step closer, fisting my hands at my sides. Red washes my vision, and the need to make it clear Violet is off limits pummels me. Keep a civil tongue in your mouth when you're talking about my future wife. Aaron's jaw goes slack, and his beady eyes dart between Violet and me. Your future wife? Violet clutches at the back of my shirt.
Tate, what are you doing?
She hisses. Her voice is just loud enough for me to hear over the music. I hook my arm around her waist and pull her to my side. The truth is, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm operating on sheer instinct, and what my instinct is telling me is that I brought Violet into this. Now I need to protect her, and this is the best way. I don't plan to let her go. The words are for Aaron, but I'm looking at Violet. Her lips part, and her eyes go wide. Come on, butterfly. Just go along with it. She blinks and swallows, then turns to Aaron.
That's right. Tate asked, and I said yes.
She looks back at me, her big blue eyes full of uncertainty.
When you know, right?
Even though she's saying it for Aaron's benefit alone, warmth blooms in my chest. Yeah, I bet you knew as soon as you saw his bank balance, Aaron sneers. I'm in motion before I realize it, my fist meeting his cheek with a satisfying crack. He reels backward, and there's a shocked scramble of people moving out of the way. They don't have to worry about there being a fight, though. Aaron doesn't have it in him. I stalk forward, grab him by the lapel, and yank him toward me. When I speak, it's loud enough for the people nearby us to hear. Insult my fiancée again. Touch her again, and a punch will be the least of your worries. I let go of him, and he slumps back against the bar. Then I find Violet's hand, slide my fingers through hers, and stalk off, taking her with me.
Tate,
She whispers.
is your hand okay?
I barely feel it, adrenaline and something else pumping through my system.
What if he files assault charges?
She asks. I let out a humorless laugh. He has too much riding on our company. He's not stupid. If he wants to watch me get locked up, he'll see his net value fall dramatically. She falls quiet, then, but squeezes my hand. That simple gesture and what it conveys, that even though my actions just now were incredibly impulsive, she's still with me, are more than I can take. I pull her around a corner, and once I'm sure we're alone, I back her up against the wall, my large body dwarfing hers. She looks up at me, eyes a wide, stormy blue.
We shouldn't have said what we did.
It's a verbal amendment of the contract, I say. We'll formalize it first thing on Monday.
But, Tate...
Curving my hand around her slender neck, I use my thumb on the angle of her jaw to tilt her face up to mine. I don't want to talk about the contract right now. I don't want to talk about terms and conditions. For a moment, I want to forget this is an arrangement. I want to believe what she said before. When you know, you know. I slide my hand into her hair and pause there. She knows what I'm going to ask. How can she not, with the way I'm staring at her mouth?
Yes.
She whispers, though I haven't asked the question. With a groan, I crush my lips to hers. She opens, letting me in, and her taste engulfs me again, pulling another groan from deep within my chest. Her mouth is hot, soft, and so fucking sweet. I cup her jaw, tilting her open even more. The needy sound she makes in response sends a bolt of lust straight to my cock. I nip her bottom lip, then take her mouth again, tasting her over and over, skating my hand over her hip and waist, drifting it over her throat and the swell of her breasts. She shivers, then arches into me. Satisfaction floods my veins. For now, she's my fiancée. Mine. And she's responding so perfectly to me, wanting me as much as I want her.
Tate...
She gasps in between kisses. I can barely hear her over the blood whooshing in my ears. Desire has a stranglehold on me. My fingers rake up her thighs, sliding under her dress, seeking the hot, wet center of her. I stroke my thumb over the satin of her panties. She's damp, the material clinging to her sex. A breath shudders out of her as her hips pulse against my hand. I could get her off right here. It wouldn't take long. I could slide my fingers inside her and relish the way she clamps down around them, just like she did that night at Onyx. I could prove to her what a liar Eric was when he told her she couldn't satisfy him. I could show her what hearing the shit Aaron said about her did to me. And yet, after one more taste of her mouth, I force my hand out from under her dress. With my forehead pressed to hers, I smooth the material down over her thighs.
Tate...
This time, her tone is tentative. I pull back and survey her. She blinks, her lashes sweeping over the uncertainty in her gaze. I want you, I say. Not for a second do I want her to think that I don't. It's taking all my willpower not to make you come right now. But I won't touch you again unless I know you're completely on board with it. I don't want her regretting it tomorrow like she did when she found out it was me at Onyx. The hot, glazed look in her eyes fades a little. Even though her cheeks are still pink, her mouth still swollen from my kisses. I can't stop myself from dusting my thumb over her bottom lip. Her eyelids flutter shut, and her head drops back against the wall.
Right.
She inhales a shaky breath.
Because us being together is an act.
I grit my teeth. She's right. It is. So why do the feelings she evokes in me seem so much more real than anything else in my life? She peers up at me from under her lashes.
We don't really need to amend the contract, do we?
I force my spine not to stiffen and breathe through the sharp sting in my chest. Not getting cold feet now, are you, butterfly? I brush a strand of hair from her flushed cheek.
Surely that man won't say anything about it, right?
A huff escapes me. I can guarantee the news has already spread. Hell, the whole thing was probably caught on video by more than one person.
Of course.
She lets out a breath, her shoulders slumping.
I guess being engaged won't change things too much, right?
Her eyes search mine for reassurance, but I'm not sure she'll find it. Because, deep in my gut, I know things are already changing. I've never had someone of my own before, someone who's mine to care for, to protect. With sudden clarity, the truth hits me in the face. Fake or not. Now, I do.
Chapter 27. Violet. I gnaw my bottom lip as my phone continues to light up with Mark's name. He knows. I can sense it. I don't know how a ringtone can sound urgent sometimes and not others, but right now my ringtone sounds exactly like overprotective brother. With a sigh, I swipe to answer it. Hi, Mark.
Please tell me the message I just got from Tate is a joke.
I lean forward and prop my elbow on the food prep bench in Trooper's kitchen. It's not a joke. It's also not a big deal.
How can you say that?
Because it's true. Apart from having to call him my fiancé now, there really isn't any difference. I guess we might have to come up with another reason for us to split at the end. Just the thought stings, but I ignore the irrational pain and continue on. But I'm sure you can come up with something using that big lawyer brain of yours. I smile, even though he can't see it, because my big brother is a Harvard-trained lawyer, and I'll never not be hit with a surge of pride when I'm reminded of that. Clearly not sharing the sentiment, he lets out a frustrated huff.
I'm concerned that this is snowballing. If you're not careful, then before you know it, you'll end up...
He hesitates, and I fill in the gap. Married? I laugh. I can guarantee Tate will never let it get that far. He snorts.
Believe me, I know that.
It stings, even though I know it's true. His tone gentles.
I was going to say hurt. I'm worried you'll end up hurt.
Of course, that's what he'd be worried about. So why did I immediately jump to the thought of marrying Tate? I know what this is, Mark. This is me saving Dad's legacy. It's about keeping true brew. You don't have to worry about me falling in love and getting my heart broken. He sighs. He and I both know there's nothing he can do anyway.
Okay. I'll amend the contract and courier it over to you first thing Monday morning.
Thank you, Mark. It will all work out. I promise.
Just take care of yourself, okay?
I smile, warm with affection for my brother, even if he is overprotective. I will. After we end the call, I go back to wiping down the bench, and I'm instantly lost in my thoughts. I may have fudged the truth there at the end. Just a little. But I can't tell Mark that his concerns might be valid. That I'm worried that spending all this time with Tate, touching him, kissing him, is going to start tearing down my walls. That I'm worried I'll get hurt. Because telling him won't help either of us. The truth remains the same whether I'm Tate's girlfriend or fiancé. I have no intention of backing out of the agreement, so I'll double down on my efforts to remind myself that it's all an act. One Tate happens to be very, very good at. I ignore the niggling voice in the back of my head that reminds me that there was no audience for the kiss we shared last night. That was just a result of the adrenaline from everything that led up to it. That man trying to touch me, Tate's out-of-the-blue announcement that we're engaged, and his protective instincts kicking in. Adrenaline makes people do crazy things, like kiss their fake girlfriend. Fiancé, like they can't get enough. Like they won't be able to take another breath if they don't. Yes, I've judged Tate too harshly. I admit that under all his polished charm, he's actually a good guy. But that doesn't mean who he is and what he wants has fundamentally changed. It means he's a good guy making the best of a bad situation. And after this is over, he'll go back to his playboy ways, and I'll go back to focusing on true brew. I doubt we'll ever see each other again after that. The squeeze in my chest at the thought is evidence enough that I've already let myself get too swept up in this. It's time to rein this whole thing in and get back to treating it like a business arrangement, the way we should have been doing all along. Pulling in a breath, I straighten my shoulders and head to the front to check on Jared. Before I get a chance to suggest he take his break, the bell over the door jangles and a small crowd of people push their way inside. The smile of welcome that spreads across my face automatically at the sound of that bell falls when I see the raised cameras. Violet, congratulations on your engagement. How did you get one of New York's most eligible bachelors to propose? Violet, how did you and Tate meet? Did he come in for coffee? When's the wedding, Violet? Heart pounding, I take a step back. I throw a startled look at Jared, whose eyes are wide with shock. I haven't mentioned the engagement to him. He's probably wondering what they're talking about. I grimace, and in response, he shakes his head. It's all the confirmation he needs. It only takes a moment for him to collect himself and pull his shoulders back. He runs his hand through his hair and glares at the group, who I'm guessing are tabloid reporters.
If you're not here for coffee, you can leave.
The man at the front fishes his wallet out of his jacket. With a smug grin, he pulls out a few bills.
I'll have an Americano.
The men behind him follow suit, digging out their wallets as well. Unbelievable. One of them brings his camera up and snaps a shot of Jared and me. Spots dance in my vision, and I put up my hand. No photos inside, please.
There are dozens of photos on each of your shop's social media pages.
He protests.
Just think of this as free publicity.
The shock and confusion that hit me when they came in have now turned to irritation. Gritting my teeth, I take a step closer to the counter. I think you should leave. The man puts his hands up.
Okay, no photos. I'll take a coffee and a Danish.
So maybe the confusion hasn't completely gone. What am I supposed to do now? And does my change in status from girlfriend to fiancé really warrant this kind of reaction? I'm considering ordering them to leave anyway, when the door swings open and another group charges in. My stomach sinks. This is ridiculous. Jared turns to me, his brows lowered.
Go hang out in the back. If they can't get to you, they'll leave.
He's right. And I need a minute to collect my thoughts and figure out how to handle this situation. As I turn, he grabs my wrist.
Call your fiancé. He got you into this. He can sort it out.
With a stunned nod, I push through the swinging door into the kitchen. I was not prepared for this. I haven't had a lot of time to think things through, and it didn't even occur to me that the announcement of Tate's sudden engagement would be a huge deal. Jared's right, though. I need to tell him. Hopefully he can advise me on how to proceed from here. Should I give them a prepared answer? Should I kick them out? I pull my phone out of my pocket, tap on Tate's name in my list of contacts, and wait for him to pick up.
Chapter 28. Tate.
Nice of you to join us.
Mom says as I take a seat next to her at the dining table. I'm a bit late arriving at the family estate in Westchester County for our monthly King family lunch. Another event that's all about appearances. One that's become more bearable since Dad's no longer around, and Delilah's far lovelier presence has taken his place. Although she's not here today. According to Cole, she isn't feeling well. My phone blew up all morning with calls from my brothers, and even one from my mother, but I ignored them, preferring to wait for lunch so I could have a single conversation rather than hash out the details with each of them separately. Now that we're all together, the confrontation can commence. Roman pinches the bridge of his nose. What the hell, Tate? Getting engaged was not part of the agreement. How did this happen? I reach for my glass of wine and take a long sip to collect my thoughts. Then I lean back in my chair. I didn't plan it, but Aaron was insulting her. I wasn't going to let him get away with it. And your solution was to propose? You realize an engagement is far harder to extricate yourself from than just a relationship, don't you? I shrug, going for unaffected. We'll work it out. Violet backed me up, and I won't leave her high and dry. I'll fix this for her. Cole chuckles from where he's sitting across from me. If it makes you feel any better, Roman, Aaron isn't pressing charges. Surprise, surprise. I can't mask the contempt dripping from my tone. Roman glares at me. Don't be too smug. The tabloids are running rampant with this story. Do you know how many photos of you decking the CFO of Avalon Inc. are floating around out there? And what the hell are you smiling at? I school my expression, even if the memory of the satisfying sound of my fist hitting Aaron's face is far too enjoyable. I lean forward and rest my elbows on the table. Look, did I act rashly? Yes. Do I regret it? Not really. And this could work well for us. The tabloids are all over our crazy love story. People are eating it up. No one's doubting my ability to commit now. And will they eat it up when you break the engagement in a few months? What about Violet? Does she get to be your jilted fiancé when this is all over? I clench my jaw. I haven't thought through all the details yet, I admit, but I won't let her get hurt. I'll figure it out. Silently, Cole assesses me, his expression speculative. I raise a brow at him. What? He rubs his hand over his mouth. At the start of this, I thought it might be hard for you to convince everyone that you were in love, but you seem to have taken to the role of dedicated boyfriend, or should I say fiancé, with remarkable ease. I shoot him a smirk. Maybe I just copied the prime example of pussy-whipped man I see in front of me.
Language, please, Tate.
Mom interjects. She sounds as bored as usual, like she's just going through the motions. Cole's lips twitch in response. Roman clears his throat. When I focus on him again, he's frowning at me. It takes everything in me not to roll my eyes. Trust me when I say I can handle this. I'll make sure the King Group is safe from scandal and look after Violet at the same time. Roman searches my face and drums his fingers on the damask-covered table, then nods. I do trust you. Just try not to be quite as rash with this arrangement going forward. You signed a contract for a reason, so the terms are clear, and so no one gets hurt. He doesn't give me a chance to respond before moving on to the next topic. Unsurprisingly, it's work. The marketing plan you put together seems to be working well. We're at 65% already. The shrill ring of my phone interrupts him, and he snaps his mouth shut. Since everyone who's been calling me this morning is sitting in this room, I pull it out of my pocket. When I see Violet's name on the screen, apprehension tightens the back of my neck. She's only reached out to me once before, and that's when she was asking about the espresso machine. I push back my chair and stand. I need to take this. Without waiting for a response, I stride from the room, hitting the answer button as I do. Violet, is everything okay?
There are reporters at the coffee shop,
She says, her voice hushed. Fuck. I scrub my hand over my face. My actions last night all but guaranteed this, but I didn't expect them to track her down so quickly. Are they causing issues? She lets out a shaky laugh.
Well, a few of them bought coffee, so at least they're giving me their money. But at the moment, I'm in the back, and Jared and Sarah are handling the front. I don't like not being out there to help, but they keep asking me about you and how long this has been going on and how I managed to tie you down."
She's trying to make light of it, but if she called me, then I have no doubt that she's shaken. I check my watch. "Stay where you are. I'm calling our security company. Their offices are closer to your shop. They'll take care of the reporters. I'll be there as soon as I can."
"You don't have to do that. I just thought you should know that they're here. Jared won't let anyone get to me."
I grind my teeth and hold back a growl at that last comment. While I'm grateful that he can keep those bloodsuckers from her, that should be my job. Our engagement may be fake, but I won't let anything happen to her. She's mine to protect. I keep those thoughts to myself, though. Someone from Pinnacle Security will be there within 20 minutes. I won't be far behind them. She lets out a sigh, probably realizing there's no point in arguing with me.
"Okay. Thank you."
The moment we disconnect, I dial Pinnacle. Once they have the information and assure me they'll head that way immediately, I stride back into the dining room. "I have to go. Violet needs me." "What's wrong?" Cole asks, the tension stiffening his posture, probably a reflection of mine. "Reporters, and not the good kind." I don't need to say more. We've all had enough experience with the tabloids to know what that means. He half stands. "You need help?" "I've got it handled. A security team is on its way." With a nod, he slowly sits again. "Call us if you need anything," Roman says. I nod my appreciation at him, strangely touched by his terse offer. Then I shoot a glance at Mom, expecting her to be wearing a look of irritation. She won't be happy that I'm cutting lunch short. Instead, she's watching me, the tiniest of creases between her botox frozen brows. I raise my own at her, waiting for the inevitable comment about my priorities. But she waves her hand in the air.
Go. The last thing anyone needs is those leeches lurking around."
The surprise that hits me is etched onto my brother's faces as well. I don't have time to unpack her out-of-character response, so with a silent nod, I head out the door, my mind back on Violet. The urgency pumping through my veins right now is mostly unfamiliar, and it's got nothing to do with work or the company, and everything to do with the woman I convinced to participate in this ruse with me. I've gone through life doing my best not to care too deeply about anyone. It's safer that way, but within a few short weeks of meeting Violet again, I find myself caring more than I should. I don't quite know what to make of that knowledge. Maybe it will turn out to be nothing. Maybe it's just a side effect of the parts we're playing, but regardless of the why, the outcome is the same. The urge to protect her, as if she were really mine, is too strong to ignore. And I'll do whatever it takes to ensure she's safe, even if Violet doesn't like what I'm going to propose when I get to her. 20 minutes later, while Jeremy is navigating standard NYC traffic, I get a call from Pinnacle. They're at Violet's shop, and they've evicted all the reporters. Although they're apparently still loitering outside. At least now Violet can come out from the back. It takes another 20 minutes to get there. From down the street, the crowd gathered out front is easy to spot. I shake my head. Fucking vultures. They're welcome to come after me. After all, I've been making news in the tabloids for years, but they can stay the fuck away from Violet. "Do you want me to take you around the block, Mr. King?" Jeremy asks. "No, let me out here. I'll deal with them." As soon as the car has come to a stop at the curb, I swing the door open and step out. I've barely straightened to my full height before the reporters have surrounded me. "Mr. King, is it true that you and Violet Sinclair are engaged? Tate, where did you and Miss Sinclair meet? What made you decide to finally put a ring on it?" For a long moment, I stand my ground and stare each reporter down. Only when the whole crowd has fallen silent do I speak. I'm only going to say this once. Yes, Violet and I are engaged. Yes, I've known her for a while. This is not out of the blue. The time was just right for both of us. Now, let me make myself very clear. My fiancée is an extremely hard-working small business owner. She doesn't need you descending on her and making her life difficult just because you have an unhealthy fascination with my relationship status. I would appreciate it if you give her the privacy she's entitled to and don't interfere with her business. That's all I have to say on the matter. More questions are thrown at me, but with Jeremy by my side, I make my way through the throng of people and into the shop. With Pinnacle still on the scene, they don't bother trying to follow me inside, though several take photos through the window. Inside, 2 burly bodyguards stand conspicuously next to the counter. I sigh to myself and head for them first, shaking their hands and thanking them for coming on such short notice. Then, because I don't see Violet, I tell Jeremy to wait for me here and make my way around the counter. When I push through the door to the back room, I find Violet at the bench, slicing bread. Jared is standing next to her, his hand on her shoulder, his head lowered close to hers as he talks. She looks up as she registers the sound of the door opening. My shoulders are tense in anticipation of how she'll react to seeing me. She has every right to be angry that I put her in this situation. But instead of irritation or outrage, her eyes fill with relief. She drops her knife on the cutting board, dusts her hands on her apron, and starts toward me. Jared steps back, a stony expression on his face. Yeah, he has a right to be pissed at me. Hell, I'm pissed at myself. I should have had security in place from the moment we started this thing. I give him a nod, acknowledging his help. It's the least I can do. But that concession doesn't mean I'll allow him to take over my role in her life. So I step forward and pull her into my arms, relaxing when hers go around me and she lets me hold her. Are you okay? Did they upset you? She shakes her head.
They just asked a lot of questions and took photos of the shop. I asked them to stop, but they just kept asking about you, about us. I wasn't sure how to handle it, so that's why
You did exactly the right thing. I want you to call me.
Thank you for sending those men. Once they cleared the reporters out, I told them they could go, but they insisted on staying until you got here. They're scaring customers away, though, so if you could ask them to leave, I'd appreciate it.
I stroke her loose hair away from her face. I'm not sending them away. What do you mean? Jared speaks up before Violet has a chance to. I shoot him a look that has him ducking his head and picking up where Violet left off with slicing the bread. I turn my attention back to her. You need the protection. I should have had them here from the start. She steps back and shakes her head.
They'll scare away all the customers.
With a gentle tug, I pull her back into my chest. I lower my head and murmur into her ear so Jared can't hear me. I made a promise that if you help me with this, it would help your business. I won't let you be harassed because of it, and I won't scare your customers off. She looks up at me and keeps her voice low, like mine.
Then what are you suggesting?
These guys are experts. They can blend in, act like customers. Give one of them a laptop, a corner table in the back, and a supply of your incredible coffee, and no one will notice him.
You don't think I overreacted about it all?
I shake my head. Absolutely not. Behind her, Jared gives me another skeptical once-over, but then he heads out front with the freshly sliced bread.
You don't think they'll go away now and not bother coming back?
This time she pulls away a step. Another shake of my head. They'll be back. They only care about the story, and the black sheep of the King family's unexpected engagement is a story they'll milk for as long as they can. She wraps her arms around her waist and studies the floor between. Engagement is a story they'll milk for as long as they can. She wraps her arms around her waist and studies the floor between us. I should do the right thing and tell her she can back out of the agreement if that's what she wants. She didn't sign up to be my fiancé, and she has every right to reject the change. We haven't signed the amended contract yet, so she'd be within her rights to refuse to continue. But I won't bring it up, because the truth is, I don't want this to end. Having someone to care about is strangely addictive. I don't want to stop pretending Violet is mine just yet. She looks back up at me and straightens her shoulders.
Okay. I'm not thrilled about it, but I won't turn down security if this is going to keep happening.
She sighs and rubs her forehead, then gives me a tired smile.
I guess I just wasn't prepared for, well, any of this. But I suppose it's all part of it, right?
I smile benignly. I'm glad you're being logical about it, because you'll also be moving into my penthouse with me tonight.